Grand Forks, North Dakota. In 1984, Lake Placid, New York. In 1985, Detroit, Michigan. And again in 1986, the Final Four come to Providence. From Rhode Island's capital city, ESPN, the Total Sports Network, and the National Collegiate Athletic Association tonight present the Division I Ice Hockey Championships. Tonight featuring the Crimson of Harvard University with a record of 24-7-1, and the Pioneers of the University of Denver with a record of 34-11-1. Tonight's game is being brought to you by National Car Rental. You deserve national attention. And hello again, everybody. I'm Jack Edwards, and welcome back to Providence for semifinal number 2. This one between Harvard and Denver. And in the first semifinal, we saw Michigan State knock off Minnesota, and Michigan State now awaits the winner of this game tonight, and they'll play in the championship game on Saturday night. We'll bring that to you live on ESPN. Joining me is former University of Minnesota All-American and Minnesota North Stars general manager Lou Nanne. And Lou, tonight we really have a couple of teams that are contrasting in style. We have Harvard, the smaller team that likes to skate, and then we have Denver, the bigger team that can also skate.
Well, Denver's got a big team, but they like to use their size. You can expect them to try and slow Harvard down with that size. They're going to try and pin them in the offensive zone and get the puck that way. Harvard, at the same time, wants to use that speed to cause turnovers and make Denver commit mistakes in their zone. So we should see a very interesting game. But one thing, watch out for Denver's team, because they do have more speed than Harvard's giving them credit for right now.
Denver has won just about everything it has attempted to win this year, and they go into this semifinal obviously needing one more to get to the championship game. But what is the best of the bunch for Denver?
Well, if they're going to get there, they're going to rely on number 12, Dallas Gaume. He's already the most points leader and assist leader in Denver history. Also number 9, Dwight Mathiasen, an excellent goal scorer. He's got great hands, good shot, the top free agent coming out this year. On Harvard's team, they've got 2 people that they're going to key on. Number 9, Scott Fusco, the Hobey Baker winner, and he's going to have to go against Gaume, who was a finalist. And also their goaltender, Grant Blair. He's excellent. He's a good stand-up goaltender. He's the NCAA goals against leader. He's had an outstanding career for Harvard.
In the early part of this game, is Harvard really going to have to try to establish something? Because it would seem, on paper at least, that Denver could make this game a bit of a rout if they get on top and start rolling.
Well, it's hard to see this game being a rout. Harvard's got a very solid team. They go with 4 lines, 6 defensemen. They're not going to be caught short for depth, and they also got a great deal of speed. They do have some balanced scoring. They got people like Bourbeau also that could score. I don't see any rout. I do think that Harvard's a patient team, but they're going to be going hard with their speed all night long, and I think it should be a very exciting contest.
All right, Lou, thank you very much, and we'll be back with the starting lineups from Providence as the Final Four continues on ESPN.
May I help you?
Name's Kiefer. I reserved a car for the day. A Firebird.
It's ready and waiting, Mr. Keeper.
Your ordinary everyday car rental doesn't have to be an ordinary everyday car. Not when National Car Rental rents cars like the Pontiac Firebird for just $35.95 a day weekdays, $24.95 a day weekends.
Hello, Kiefer. How was your ride in from the airport?
It was a blast.
Rent some excitement. Call National at 800-CAR-RENT.
Give me a light. Whoa. Bud Light.
If you just ask for a light beer,
Hey, can I have a light?
Whoa.
you never know what you'll get.
Give me a light. Bud Light.
So if you want the less filling light beer with the first name and taste, don't just ask for a light beer.
Give me a light.
Ask them to bring out their best.
Bud Light.
Bud Light. Because everything else is just a light.
I'm a firefighter. I'll always be a firefighter. And what I do when I'm out of uniform is my business. My business.
Meet the feisty firefighter, recently fired for lighting up the May issue of Playboy. You can buy it in 3 days.
Here's a look at the Crimson from Harvard University, the club from Cambridge, Massachusetts. Their road to the Final Four, they were the ECAC regular season champions and seeded number 2 in the East. In their 2-game total goal quarterfinal series, they defeated Western Michigan by scores of 4-2 and 7-2 to advance to the Final Four. Their starting lineup at left wing, Lane McDonald, his father, played with 3 NHL teams. He was a 3-time All-Star in the Pro League. Scott Fusco, the 1986 Hobey Baker Award winner, is the starting center for the Crimson. At right wing, Tim Smith, who has produced 25 goals in 32 games. At left defense, Mark Benning, not very big, only 5'8", 160 pounds, but this Notre Dame transfer really makes his presence known. At the right point, Randy Taylor, 6 feet 2 inches tall, 195 pounds, and he's the biggest man on Harvard's squad. In goal, Grant Blair, who is the all-time leader for Harvard in goals against average, shutouts, wins, and saves. Harvard, coached by Billy Cleary, who operates a program which gives scholarships only on need, not those based on athletic prowess. And the Pioneers from the University of Denver, their road to the Final Four, a very impressive one, more like a superhighway. They were the WCHA regular season champions. They won the WCHA tournament, and they were seeded #1 in the West. They proceeded to beat Cornell in a total goals series, a tight one for them, 7-6, the final score of that two-game set. Their starting lineup at left wing, Kermit Eckelbarger. He has 16 goals, 13 assists for 29 points, and believe it or not, he is the slouch of the first line, comparatively speaking. Dallas Gaum is the center man, 31 goals, 66 assists for 97 points. Dwight Mathiasen plays the right wing, and he has amassed 88 points on 39 goals and 49 assists. At defense, Jim Smith, 6 feet 1 inches tall, 200 pounds. He throws his weight around, 40 assists. He also has a pretty good shot. Eric Johnson is at the other point. Johnson, a junior, 6 feet 2 inches tall, 185 pounds. Another one of these big Denver kids who can fly. In the goal, Chris Olson, 90.3% of the shots that come at him come back at the shooter. He's one to kick them out. And the coach, a 6-time Stanley Cup winner, looking for his first NCAA championship, Ralph Backstrom. We'll be back to Providence with Final Four action. This on ESPN.
You can learn to be a better golfer from the Indoor Golf Clinic. Professional touring pros will show you the secrets and techniques that they use. And with our free video and computer analysis with your lessons, you will actually see yourself improve. The Indoor Golf Clinic is the largest indoor range in town, accommodating up to 18 golfers at a time. Phone or stop by today for lessons or to practice your swing. The Indoor Golf Clinic is conveniently located on Abilene near the Buyers Club, off the I-225 and Iliff exit. Phone now at 745-3243.
It's our gigantic end-of-the-month sale in Leo Payne Automotive Plaza with up to $1,500 cash back. That's right, up to $1,500 cash back on every 86 Pontiac, Jeep, GMC, Volvo, Subaru. Over $4 million in inventory. Subaru sedan, $1,000 cash back. Jimmy S15, $1,200 cash back, or just $138 a month, or 3.9% interest on all remaining 1985 models. But this offer ends Monday night, up to $1,500 cash back. Only at Leo Payne Automotive Plaza on Wadsworth.
The officials for tonight's game, the referee, Brian Hart, Jim Fitzgerald on your left, and Scott Levitt on the right. Goalkeepers for tonight's action. On the left, Grant Blair of Harvard, and he has pulled off some miracles in his career. Chris Olson is on a hot streak for Denver. I'm Jack Edwards along with Lou Nanny, and Lou, the keepers so often are the real story in a one-game elimination such as this.
Well, that's true, and Grant Blair has had a great career at Harvard for 4 years. Chris Olson had been splitting the duties all year long with Tom Allen. Tom Allen, as a matter of fact, was the second all-star goaltender in the WCHA, and it got to the playoffs. Olson got hot, and Coach Ralph Backstrom has been going with Olson ever since. So Blair has had his job all year, but Olson has just won it in the playoffs. It's going to be interesting to see how they fare tonight.
Denver in white, Harvard wearing the crimson. And the winner of this will play Michigan State for the national championship. Jim Smith sending it around the boards. Benning on it for Harvard. And Lane McDonald up to Fusco to Tim Smith. Smith over the line to McDonald, picks it up. Shot goes wide. Smith tries to stuff it home, and Olson had to kick it out of his own crease. Fusco tries to jam it, and he fans. Now Gaum clears it across the line. Mathiasen gets pinched off by a couple of defensemen, and Taylor takes it. Off to Benning, cross ice, too far ahead for Smith. And Smith takes it for Denver. Tim Smith and Jim Smith on the ice at the same time. That's Randy Taylor. Jim Smith for Denver over the line. Off to Hansen, quick shot, saved by Blair. He gloves it and hangs on.
Well, those are the type of saves that goaltenders like to have early. They like to have that shot from far out, something that they can see and handle and not be having to worry about it all.
Here's a look at Ralph Backstrom, and he knows something about winning championships. 6 of them as a professional, the Stanley Cups. And his name is on. Scott Mathias will take the draw against Alan Bourbeau. Mathias of Denver, Bourbeau of Harvard. And it's controlled by Jerry Pulaski of the Crimson. The wing to Ed Prayer. Pulaski picks it up over the line. Drive deflects off the skates of Dion. Denver captain off to Gorley for Hansen. Hansen digs. Loses it. Bourbeau right in front, sticked away by Olsen. Mathias off the boards. Barraquette gives him trouble. And we get a face-off as the puck is wedged into the boards.
Scott Mathias, who was centering that second line for Denver, is a fellow that just moved into the middle because McMillan's hurt. As we look at Bill Cleary, the hockey coach for Harvard for a long time, a very successful one at that, and he's really had his team prepared to come in here and win tonight. They're feeling very confident.
He played in the original Beanpot back at Boston Garden and also the U.S. Olympic team, so a player as well as a coach and a fine gentleman. Mercier trying to center. Onstad right in front, loose in the skates of Pulaski, and Blair decides that he's going to snuff it and get rid of that problem in a hurry. We're only about 90 seconds into the action. This is the national semifinal game as you look at Grant Blair. Harvard against Denver, the winner, to take on Michigan State for the national championship.
Each club changing lines very quickly now, trying to get everybody into the game. They want to get them in as fast as they can, get their butterflies away, get them to have a feel of the game. Harvard's going to go with 4 lines. Denver will go with 3. That's been the way they've operated all year long, and I don't think they're going to change much tonight. Harvard's very confident. They don't worry about line matchups against anyone they play, so says Coach Cleary. Denver, on the other hand, you can expect them to try and match up Gom as often as possible against Fusco, but it's going to be hard to do if he continues to go with 4-line Harvard does, and Denver going only with the 3.
Mercier and Mayer are at the points for Denver. Gom on the draw against Armstrong of Harvard, and Harvard controls. That's Kaplan around for Sweeney, but he loses control. And now we get another drop as Mathiasen pins it into the backboards.
The fans get a little restless. They thought it was a quick whistle, but Reinhardt not allowing the players at that time to get a little restless. Early in a game like this, whenever you're tense and you're just coming out, there's occasions that you might have your temper much shorter than normal, especially later in the game. And what the referee tries to do in a case like that, blow the whistle and prevent any kind of after the whistle shenanigans and just get the game underway. Once they're underway, then you'll see him wait longer before he blows the whistle along the board.
Denver controls. Mercier wrists it through. Blair sticks it to the corner. Mathiasen loses control. Now Armstrong with a break, right wing. Armstrong closes, and Mayer comes right over and just takes the puck away. Now Rob Ono with it. He runs into Mercier. Ono, persistence pays off, right into the middle, taking away Mayer. To Mathiasen, 1-on-2. Loses on the poke check by Kaplan, and Perron just dumps it back in. Mercier for Eckelbarger, too far ahead. Comes back inside Mercier. Past Armstrong up ahead for Gome. He's got Mathiasen with him. Now Mathiasen into the circle. Looking middle for Eckelbarger. Gome's shot through a screen, hits somebody. Shot by Mathiasen, hits somebody again, and it goes into the corner. Eckelbarger digs. Gome left of the cage, steps away from the Taylor check. Taylor still after him. Ono comes over to help out. Back to the point. Cross to Smith, couldn't handle it, and it deflects back toward the Denver line.
Denver's starting to win the battle along the boards because of their size. Hartford's going to have to be more effective whenever they take a man out in their zone along the boards and come up with that puck more often.
Chappelli can't get it through center zone. Mathias over the line for Denver, tries to drop it off, and coming back to help out Andy Janfaza up ahead for Greg Chalmers. This is the best forechecking line for Harvard, Lou.
Well, it's supposed to be. It's the 4th line. It surprises me if it is. If it is, they should have more points than they got because they really have the least amount of points of any line. And if you're a good forechecking line, usually you're going to get a lot of turnovers. I heard it was supposed to be the best, but I still have to see it to believe it because they don't have very many stats compared to the other 3.
There's Jim Smith, big defenseman.
Jim Smith was a defenseman that was a forward. He's been converted back to defense, and he's got great speed. He's the fellow that Denver will look to carry that puck out of the zone. He's very, very mobile. He handles it extremely well, and he's very dangerous bringing that puck up ice.
Chalmers on the drop. Chappelle trying to go in after it. Onstad manages to clear. Long shot in on Olsen. Gorley. Die on the other defenseman. His pass up through center ice taken away Benning. Chappelle for Harvard. Taylor. Kept in at the point. And now Chalmers breaks. He has Jan Faza left. Shifts over the line onside. Taken away by Onstad. Onstad up ahead. Christoffoli bumped his pass into the middle, picked off by Jan Faza. He feeds Chalmers. Chalmers falls down over the line and just has to dump it in. Good hit into the corner there by Pulaski. Christoffoli for Lamb. Tipped it and set himself offside. 15:45 remaining first period. Harvard 0, Denver 0, and Denver controlling much of the play in the early going.
You see Jim Onstad just going off the ice. He usually is on the fourth line with John McMillan, who's favoring his leg. He's got a Charlie horse out of the lineup. They moved. Denver did move Jeff Lamb into the middle, and Onstad's moved up to that third line. Denver has been using their body more than Harvard, but Harvard just got a great check thrown by Jerry Pulaski, who broke out of the zone. A defenseman, he was in deep, and he threw a heavy check as he was forechecking on the play there.
Two first lines out there. The centers, Fusco, who has the puck right now for Harvard, and Dallas Gaum for Denver. Derek Mayer up ahead for Gaum. Flicks it in. Controlled easily by Blair. Pulaski, who threw the good check up ahead to Fusco. 3-on-2 for Harvard. He's got Smith on the right. Gives it to Smith. Big shot. Save. Rebounds loose. Fusco shot it wide. Denver defense back giving him trouble. It was not an uncontested shot. Catone throws it into the middle of the zone. Mayer knocks it down. He's got Mathias, but hit him a little bit too late. Pulaski picks it off to Smith. Another chance on the right wing. Puck on edge. Drive goes well wide. McDonald along the boards, tied up. And we'll be back to Providence. The score, Harvard 0 and Denver 0.
Now, save time and money by taking care of mower problems yourself with help from the Arnold Lawnmower and Small Engine Parts Center at local retailers. Here, you'll find replacement parts for almost every make and model lawnmower, including everything you need for complete tune-ups. And every package has step-by-step illustrated instructions, so you can do it yourself for less. So keep your lawnmower running right, the easy money-saving way, with help from the Arnold Lawnmower and Small Engine Parts Center at these retailers.
Wherever fine lawn and garden products are sold.
Denver so eager to use their bodies. Just in the last exchange, Denver had two forwards down deep. Both of them go over to the defenseman to get the hit, but the puck came up ice, and as it did, Harvard had a great chance with Fusco coming deep, but Derek Mayer came back to make a good play. Denver is going to get a penalty for too many men on the ice. When that delayed whistle was going for offside, Denver had too many men on the ice in the change, so Harvard's going to get an opportunity here to go in a power play.
Well, Mark Fusco, let's take a look at the pop he took in center zone.
Well, he really didn't get hit as bad as he thought. He was sidestepping the check, and you'll see he just got his ankle caught a bit, but here's where he had the occasion to go into the net. Derek Mayer, 21 right there, made a good play and got it away. He was right in position to put it by Olsen, but Mayer, 21, the freshman defenseman, an excellent play.
Bear down. All right, Lane McDonald out with Smith and Fusco, and it's Benning and Taylor on the points. That's the power play unit. It's also the starting unit for Harvard. And Denver clears.
Harvard went to this power play after Barbeau got hurt, and this power play was very successful for Harvard last year. It started out not too successful, so they used Barbeau's line. All of a sudden, Barbeau got hurt. They came back, but this line has been very, very productive for them. Coach Cleary was saying before that he's got great confidence in this fivesome.
Nice play by Jim Smith in center zone to break up the last rush by Taylor, and Smith with another long shot and surprised Grant Blair a little bit. He was deep in his cage. Minute 21 to go on the Harvard power play, and the Crimson have done squats so far. Barraquette. That's Bourbeau. And we get an offside call. 14:08 to go first period. 1:13 remaining on the Crimson power play. It's a 0-0 hockey game in the national semis.
Well, Denver very aggressive killing the penalty. They're always looking for a place where they might be able to break that Mathiasen up front or Gom up front and take advantage of teams thinking that they're in a good scoring position and relaxing defensively. They are very dangerous when they're killing the penalty, and they have scored quite a few goals this season shorthanded.
Taylor stepping up. Bourbeau wrestling for it. Taylor back to Benning inside the Harvard zone. A minute to go on the power play for Harvard. Benning around the boards off the glass. Crayer on the dig. That's Bourbeau into the corner along with Mathiasen. You can see how much size Harvard gives up in those corner confrontations. Mathiasen keeps the puck alive. Gorley gets it outside the zone. 38 seconds to go on the power play.
And the next shorthanded goal Denver scores, they will set a record, a team record. They've already got 13 shorthanded goals this season.
Dallas Gom's pass hit the linesman in center zone and then came back in, and offside was ruled. There's a look at Dallas Gom.
What a year he's had, 97 points. He was one of the finalists for the Hobey Baker Award. He's been a great player for them. Very clever centerman. He's the type of fellow that can get that puck over to his wings, and when you have a wing like Dwight Mathiasen, you're going to pick up a lot of assists because Mathiasen can really put it away.
Alan Bourbeau to take the draw against Jeff Lamb. Josh Kaplan. Harvard dumps it in. Smith. Bourbeau on him, but Smith sees the opening and sends it the length of the ice. 15 seconds now remain on the Harvard power play. Don Sweeney to Josh Kaplan, back to Sweeney. Up ice, Barraquette. Moving on Johnson. Goes corner. Bourbeau right in front. Barraquette's shot goes wide. Penalty has expired. We're 5-on-5. Best chance for Harvard on the power play right at the end of it. Barraquette over the line, onside. Dumps it. Bourbeau going in deep. Barraquette looked like he wanted a line change. Bourbeau, corner of the net, tries to stuff it home. 2 chances, 3, and now it comes out. Johnson off the boards on Stagg. Loses it. We got a delayed call coming. A cross check. That penalty comes at 7 minutes, 38 seconds of the first period. And it's going to put Harvard
minor cross check
in a 4-on-5 situation.
Well, Harvard's Barraquette in front of the net after he missed the goal, came back across the front. He cross-checked, and now Denver getting the opportunity to go in the power play for the first time tonight. Harvard just had a power play. They weren't very effective on it. As a matter of fact, Harvard's played more effective at full strength than they have when they had the power play. And here's where we see Bourbeau trying to get the goal. He's all around the net, and he takes 2 shots. He's knocked down, and after the play continues, Barraquette's coming around the net, and he cross-checks the Denver defenseman back. That's when the delayed call was made.
We've seen Harvard's power play. Now we get a look at Denver's. Mercier, center zone. Offside at the line. Little hesitation, and he didn't seem to have too much opposition in front of him.
Well, he lost the puck momentarily, and that was enough. He was approaching the blue line slowly. He had already blocked a shot. He didn't get real good control of the puck, and as he was taking his time, McMillan, who has come on the ice for the first time on the far side, he had just stepped over to the line and offside. Mercier doesn't normally play the power play. They were giving Jim Smith a rest. Smith back out there right now, and Mercier going off. Smith had just been on the ice previously, so he got a 20-second break.
McMillan up front with Gom and Mathiasen. That is Smith with the puck now to Mathiasen. Dion is the other point man. Blair leaving it, now flicking it up the boards. And Rob Ono, perhaps Harvard's best penalty killer, sends it the length of the ice. Smith up ice, Mathiasen. Pulaski after him. Gom onside, pass behind McMillan. Dion is there. Dion controlling, crossing over with Mathiasen. Ono is out on him. Smith back to Gom. Harvard in the disciplined box. Smith looking for something. Back to Gom. To Smith, tees it up, drive, tipped wide by the Harvard defense. Dion after it, loses, and Josh, check it, Don Sweeney has a break but cannot clear it. and goes corner. 48 seconds to go on the power play. Denver has had control of the puck, but not too many great opportunities. Harvard, good discipline.
Well, Denver's been patient, passing it around the outside, but bad line change here.
Big shift. Dion walks in, fires it wide, far side. Harvard got caught and got away with it.
Well, Harvard relaxing and had a bad line change. Everybody went off, and Dion had a break.
Lamb loses to Lane McDonald. McDonald over the line. He's pinned in. And McDonald is successful in getting the faceoff. College baseball season continues on ESPN. We'll bring you some live college baseball. Monday night, March 31st, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. The road to Omaha continuing as Seton Hall makes its first trip of the year to Arizona. It's live on ESPN, Monday Night Baseball.
Denver with only 20 seconds left in their power play. They really didn't have any kind of advantage or any kind of opportunity until Harvard had a bad line change and Dion walked in all alone, put a shot over the net.
Okay. Benning with 15 seconds to go on the penalty kill up ahead for McDonald. Mercier is there for Denver. And an offside at the line as Weiss was a little hesitant trying to feed it up ahead for Hansen.
Mark Benning standing beside Ed Christoffoli was quite a sight. Benning had just bumped into Christoffoli after the whistle. Benning, the defenseman, 5'8". Christoffoli, the forward, 6'1", 205. Denver with 4 forwards over 200 pounds. Harvard having no one in that vicinity at all. As a matter of fact, Harvard's biggest defenseman is bigger than only one of Denver's 6 defensemen.
Power play has expired. We are 5-on-5 as Barraquette is back on the ice. Taylor turning his net. Up to Barraquette. Into center zone. Mercier there. Hacked from behind by McDonald, but Mercier dumps. Blair controlling. Eye off the glass. Hansen. Down the boards to Weiss. Taylor knocks him down. Puck's underneath. We get the face-off to the right of Grant Blair.
We talked to Coach Bill McCreary before the game, and we were discussing his team and the quickness that it has. He said he's done that by design. He remembered reading John Wooden's book. And in his book, John Wooden says the one thing that he would never sacrifice is size and quickness. And that's Bill McCreary's philosophy also. He says, as long as I've got people that are quick and they've got good speed, he says, I'm not too concerned about how big they are. And he has got a very quick hockey club.
There you look at Ralph Backstrom and his Denver bench, and Cleary's guys giving them an awful good run for their money right now. 10 minutes gone in the first period, and it's a 0-0 hockey game. Here's Barraquette up ahead for Crayer. Crayer beats his man to Barraquette. Quick shot and the save by Olsen. The first real test on Chris Olsen, and he showed that he can withstand the test easily.
An outstanding play by number 11, the freshman wing, Ed Crayer. He went around the outside of the Denver defense. As he pulled both defensemen to him, Tim Barraquette came into play, just trailed it perfectly where he was in good position to accept the pass and get a good shot on net. And a fine shot by Barraquette, a better save by Olsen. He kept it out of the net. So the game is still scoreless here at 9:50 to go in the first period.
Scott Fusco has gone to the Harvard trainer's room. We'll keep tabs on that for you. Shot in and kicked out by Olsen. Loose top of the slot. Turnaround shot. Borbo. Rebound goes just wide as Crayer was on the doorstep. Good bid for Harvard. At the point, drive is knocked down through. That was Pulaski's effort. Barraquette back of the goal center right in front. Borbo couldn't get to it. Borbo now goes corner. And Denver clears. Gone. Over the line. Had Eckelbarger, but couldn't get it to him. Catone. Borbo drives it down the length of the ice and will return to Providence with 9 minutes to go in the first period. It's 0-0.
Every year, dozens of new motorcycles are introduced, each of them designed to fit neatly into one category or the other. And then there's the new Yamaha Phaser. With its 700cc Genesis engine, nitrogen-charged suspension, and distinctively low profile, the Phaser doesn't fit into a category. It creates one.
Harvard's high man in the slot is always in good position. They've been giving Denver some problems with it, having the other two passing the puck down deep and getting it out in the slot area for a good opportunity.
Kaplan left side to Sweeney. Has trouble from Matthias. Kaplan now gets it center zone. Chiarelli trying a turnaround pass. Sweeney back for it for Harvard. Pressure from Weiss. Johnson sends it through. Hanson. Matthias in the corner, couldn't control. Chappelli gets it out for Harvard. Now a break. Jan Faza to Chappelli, trying to walk down top of the slot. Jan Faza goes to the backhand, goes into the right wing corner. Jan Faza pulls up. Chappelli missed, trying to hit it on the fly. Taylor can't keep it inside the zone. Chalmers comes back to center.
There was 2 more opportunities where Denver wasn't picking up that high man in the slot, and Harvard tried to hit him with 2 passes. Had the passes been on the stick, Harvard would have had 2 more good chances.
Matthias had Christopherly, couldn't get it to him. About 3 Harvard players in between. 8 minutes to go, first period. A 0-0 hockey game, a bit of a surprise. Pass deflected through the middle, but it comes onto a friendly stick of Josh Kaplan, and Harvard is able to clear. Crimson change on the fly. We haven't seen Fusco since about midway through this period. He is in the trainer's room. We are trying to get a report. Gorley couldn't get the break. There's Armstrong to Ono. Ono gets hauled down. We got a delayed penalty coming with 7:25 to go first period. So that'll come at 12 minutes and 35 seconds. Let's pick up the call.
We've got 18 Denver, minor, high stick.
Christopherly's going off for high sticking, and he high sticked Ono down. And it's a good thing he got him down because Ono was breaking away all alone. Denver's so intent on using their body that not only 1 man but 2 men are constantly going at that puck here even after he's passed the puck. 1 man's enough to eliminate him. When he wasn't, he got the puck up ice right here, and Ono was breaking away. Christopherly took him down, and that was Ono all alone behind both of Denver's defensemen. Denver forechecking up front very physically, but using the extra man even after the pass has been made. Consequently, they're not having enough fellas back deep to help out that defense. And Harvard's been able to break away for it a couple of times here thus far tonight.
Fusco is not on the power play. Alan Bourbeau is in his spot. Benning to Taylor. Right side, Bourbeau. His drive scores! Harvard on the power play. Takes only 9 seconds to put it in the net. And it is 1-0 Crimson.
A good shot by Bourbeau from the right side. Partially screened. Beats Olsen down low on his glove side. Bourbeau, who's on the power play now because Fusco's in the training room, and that's where the change was made. And this fella Bourbeau has been a great scorer for them all year. Got the most goals per game of anybody in the team. A 2-way passing play, and the 3rd pass finally to Bourbeau beats the goaltender down low, right through the legs. That was the screen set up by Lane McDonald, where Olsen lost track of it. And you could see Olsen off balance somewhat, reaching for it. That shows that he didn't know where that puck was coming from. A good shot by Bourbeau puts Harvard ahead on the power play, 1-0. 7:15 to go in the first period.
The goal coming at 12:45, the 21st goal of the year for Bourbeau from Benning and Taylor. And here's another break for Harvard. Smith trying to send it back across the middle. And Denver clears.
Come on, guys.
You hear Ralph Backstrom. Fusco's problem is with the left knee. No diagnosis yet, but that is the report that we have so far. We'll try to get more details for you. Caron's shot, gloved by Olsen, and he hangs on.
And he didn't see that till the last second because number 5, Eric Johnson, had fallen to block a shot. And when you start falling to block a shot 40 feet out, you better get that shot because you're out of position. When you're going to block a shot, you've got to make sure you get it, or you shouldn't be leaving your feet that far from the net. Here's the shot, and you'll see number 5 right there. Eric Johnson down to block it. Olsen seen it and hanging on for the face-off to the right.
Hansen on the draw, but Chalmers wins it. Matthias, center zone. Over the line, runs into 2 Harvard players, and Pulaski picks up the puck. That's how you play the man. Chyon up the boards. Loses. McDonald all the way deep, centering pass. Comes onto the stick of Weiss. Weiss's long shot saved by Blair, and he had trouble gloving it.
That was an excellent shot by Weiss, but the wrong play. He had a 3-on-2 break, He didn't realize he had two wings with him, and he had plenty of time to make a play. He elected to shoot the puck from 60 feet. The goalie had to make a fine save. Weiss does have the strongest shot on the Denver team, but watch this where he lets it go from right at the blue line. He had a 3-on-2 break. Had he dished it off to the side, his man Matthias was normally the center was on the right side coming with some speed.
And look how far out Grant Blair was to cut it down. There wasn't too much net to shoot at.
Well, the goalie's going to come out about 8 or 10 feet when the fella's that far out shooting, cutting the angle, meeting the shot. But as he was coming out, he almost got beat because Weiss did unload. He can really shoot him.
Lamb, Christoffoli, and Onstad the line, and again, Blair decides to take the face-off as we see a little extracurricular activity after the whistle. 6:12 to go first period. Harvard up 1-0 on Denver.
As we were saying earlier, Harvard team coming in tonight has a different feeling, Coach is telling us, because 2 years ago when they got to the Final Four, they were happy just to be there. He says, tonight we feel we should be there and we're going to win. So Billy Cleary's content that his people are ready to play and ready to win, whereas 2 years ago he felt they were just happy to be in the Final Four.
Josh Kaplan, trouble from Lamb. Kaplan side of his goal. Loses control, makes the check going Armstrong. Dumps it off for Don Sweeney. Sweeney to Rob Ono. Ono into center zone. And Denver turns it back. Onstad over the line, taken away by Armstrong. Mercier dumps it in. Hit in center zone by Ono after the play. Now Armstrong. Ono trailing. He also has Caron. Drop pass, and both guys skate right by it. Here's a 2-on-1 coming back the other way for Denver. Christoffoli. Into the middle, intended for Onstad, hopped over his stick. Lamb's long shot, and Blair was out a good 20 feet. The puck comes into Ono's pads, and we'll get a face-off inside the Harvard zone with 5:22 to go first period.
Well, a good play right there by Ono. He had all his people out of position. They were just getting ready for a line change. Denver had broken away, got a shot wide, and he made sure when he got that puck up in the air, he could freeze it and get a line change at that time. They had some tired people out on the ice. But Denver thus far not moving as crisply or smoothly as they normally do, or handling that puck as well as they do. And Harvard has really limited the opportunities Denver's been able to get thus far.
Eckelbarger, Gome, Mathiasen. That's Smith's drive. The starters, at any rate, are out there for Denver. Chalmers, Jan Faza for Harvard. Johnson lines him up. Gome turns it back. Long drive, saved by Blair. Rebound in the slot. Benning turns, clears, not out. Johnson down into the corner. Gone. Bumped away by Benning. Gone back of the net. Dangerous there. Eckelbarger's in front. Shot. Scores! Dwight Mathiasen from the top of the crease just flicked it over Blair.
Well, that's what's been the story all season long for Denver. Dallas Gone to Dwight Mathiasen. You'll see it again. Gone behind the net, setting up, waiting for that man, Dwight Mathiasen, to get in position in front of the net, which he does right here. And even though he's going down, he's got the composure to get his stick on the puck right here as he's losing his balance and put it up high because goaltender Blair was low. Dwight Mathiasen, the leading goal scorer for this Denver Hockey Club, getting his 40th after a fine setup by Dallas Gom, and this game is tied 1-1 with 4:44 to go.
Gorley back to Dion. Dion up ahead. Hansen. He runs into the check by Borbo. Borbo sticks it over the line. Dion retaining possession for Denver. Tries to step around the check. Loses control of the puck. Now a walk-in. Borbo shoots, rebound. Still loose. Goes right across the crease behind Olsen and out the other side. Golden opportunity for Ed Crair, and the puck just wouldn't bounce for him. Here's Barraquette. Down into the corner it goes beyond Borbo. Borbo's getting an awful lot of ice time tonight with Fusco's injury.
Chris Olsen just kept this game tied after making two fine saves, first on Borbo and then on Crair.
Over the line, 2-on-1 for Denver. Hansen can't control the pass. Led him a little bit too far. Matthias down low. Centering pass from Weiss. Comes off a stick, and Catone clears. Not out. Kept in at the line. Pulaski up ahead. Chalmers turns and gets it all the way back to the Denver line. Mercier. Chalmers up on him. Mercier's pass Tim Smith picks it off for Harvard, right back to Mercier. 3.5 to go, first period. Sweeney sends it the length of the ice. We're going to get an icing call. We'll return to Providence. 3:19 to go in the first. The score, Denver 1 and Harvard 1.
If you just ask for a light beer,
Give me a light.
you never know what you'll get.
No. What I wanted. Bud Light.
So if you want the less filling light beer with the first name and taste, ask for Bud Light. Because everything else is just a light.
Well, Harvard wishes they had opportunities more often like they've been getting, because they had some great chances. You'll see right here, both Ellen Borbo, 24, gets a chance. He'll miss. The save is made. The puck's going to come right over to the side to Crayer. He thought he shoved it in. He put it behind Olsen right across. Harvard getting some fine opportunities. The game stays tied 1-1. Denver starting to come much better up front, but their defense not playing as solid as they have this year.
Smith lines it up. His drive goes wide. Lamb, bumped by McDonald. Chalmers after it. Lamb can't win the battle. Here's Smith. He's got McDonald. Gives it to Lane. Christoffoli turns it back. Up ahead for Lamb. Crossing over, Smith dumps it into the corner. Christoffoli's there first. Skates right past it, though, and the pane of glass is out. The referee has not yet seen it, and the pane of glass is missing down to the left of Grant Blair. We're going to get a whistle on this pretty soon. Smith over the line. Drops it off. Lamb turns it back. That pane of glass is still gone there. McDonald flicks it to the Denver line. Smith misses. Johnson. Mathiasen throws it in behind Blair. It's hacked around the glass. Wild bounce comes right in front, and that's where the glass is. And now Blair stops play with the snuffing of the puck. 2:12 to go first period in a 1-1 hockey game, and they got to put a pane of glass back to the left of Grant Blair.
Well, you see Blair talking to his defenseman, Mark Benning, right there as to what they want to do in front while the glass is out. At that time, someone was trying to allow the linesman to know that the glass was out. They were yelling at him. You'll see the hit knocking the glass out right there. A heavy check laid on Christoffoli, and the Denver bench and the Harvard bench were both yelling at the linesman, trying to get his attention to let him know it's out. You don't want to have that glass out while play's going on. Someone could get hurt.
National Hockey League action continues to come your way on ESPN. The Bruins and the Sabres will face off Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. That's 4 Pacific. And that Adams division is about as tight as it gets in hockey this time of the year.
And it continued to stay tough last night. Some tough games around the league, and Buffalo wins a big game. They shut out Philadelphia and Philadelphia. At the same time, Boston was tying Montreal, so they've got quite a battle on their hands, and they've had a battle in that division all year long. Superb hockey being played, and those two clubs are going to go right down to the wire along with Montreal and Hartford in that division to find out who's going to be in the playoffs.
And you can see that Boston-Buffalo game, and you can also see the Stanley Cup playoffs coming your way, all on ESPN. You know, you talk about Buffalo, oftentimes you think about Tom Barrasso, and Ed Crayer, the left wing number 11 for Harvard, is another player from Acton, Massachusetts. A really excellent youth program there, which has produced so many fine young players. And sent many on to college careers and some beyond that.
Well, one of the fellows coming out of that Massachusetts program has been the star so far for Harvard tonight, Ellen Borbo. He's been the all-time leading scorer in Massachusetts high school scoring. Borbo getting the only goal Harvard's had thus far, tying this game being tied at 1 right now. Borbo's had an outstanding season. He missed some games earlier with injuries, but goals per game, he leads the Harvard Hockey Club this year.
Well, we got a little bit lucky here with 2:12 to go in the first period. That delay could have lasted an awful lot longer than it did, but play is underway once again. Gaum trying to close toward the net, centering pass. Who was behind Mathias and Armstrong there for Harvard.
Get back to it.
It's loose at the line. Mathiasen trying to find Gaum as we're under 2 minutes to play in the first. Caron for Ono. He's breaking 1-on-4 right now. Ono, long shot, deflecting save by Olsen. Caron. Olsen had to skate it away. And Denver clears at the length of the ice. No icing on this play, and the Pioneers will change up on the fly. Taylor gets a bump along the boards. Ono clears it. Taken away Mercier. We're going to get a delayed offside. At least we should. But Harvard manages to clear, so it's waved off. Caron to Benning. Benning with a break left wing. Flicks it in, and Olsen gloves it and leaves it off. 1:10 to go. The first period. 1-1 hockey game as Harvard is hanging tough with Denver. Denver with a good physical edge early. Puck went into the Harvard bench and came back over, so we'll drop it in center zone.
Well, Jack, there's no reason why they shouldn't. Harvard's an excellent hockey club, and they've beat some good teams along the way. As a matter of fact, to get here last weekend, they played a very physical hockey team in Western Michigan. And as we were seeing earlier, Bill Cleary has no qualms about sacrificing size when he's got speed and quickness, and his team is as quick as any. They've got some good speed, and they're very disciplined. If you watch thus far tonight, they've always had some people up high creating opportunities for them because Denver defensemen are getting caught deep. They're starting to chase the puck, and Harvard's been able to get that puck up high to their wings and get some good opportunities.
Final minute to play, first period in this 1-1 hockey game. Pulaski, again, some funny bounces off the glass down there, and Payne almost popped out again. Borbo passes it off his own skates. We're going to get an elbowing call coming.
Tom Weiss in the corner as he's taking the defenseman out. He took him in pretty hard. You see Weiss taking the defenseman in the corner, and he got his elbows up, and now Harvard, having scored on their last power play opportunity, gets another one. This game's tied 1-1. There's 45 seconds to go, and Harvard will get an opportunity to pull ahead.
I don't mean to underestimate Harvard as we take a look at Tom Weiss in there for elbowing. We'll see it one more time here.
Well, here's the play. Weiss gets his elbow up on Pulaski, and he fella's holding the glass behind him. That's the same pane of glass that went out just previously, and the fella probably had to come down on him once. Look at him, look at that pane, saying, glad you stayed up there this time. Maybe I helped you stay there.
At the risk of eliciting drones across the country, it's a real pain in the glass. Harvard with a bid right across the crease, but Denver manages to clear. We're now in the final 30 seconds of the first period.
Good chance there for Tim Smith. He made the shot and he got the rebound, and it went right through Olsen, right across the crease.
Benning up ahead for McDonald. McDonald with a rush in center zone. Keeps on going. Lane McDonald tries to stuff it home. Couldn't get it around the corner. Into the corner, Mathiasen now for Denver. Cleared to the point, kept in. Benning right in front, tipped, and it goes wide. McDonald was in the right place at the right time, but couldn't get it on goal. 5 seconds to go. And Smith clears it to the line, and that'll do it for the first period. A 1-1 hockey game. And again, Lou, I'm not meaning to put down Harvard, but so many people here in Providence were saying, oh, look at Denver. They're huge and they can fly. And even though they only skate 3 lines, they're capable of beating just about anybody. And if they're playing their kind of hockey, they're going to win handily. But are they playing their kind of hockey right now?
Well, Harvard's not letting them play as well as they can. At the same time, they're trying to play their kind of hockey, which is a physical game. But even though they're playing physical, Harvard's got the speed to get back into play. And Harvard has had an outstanding season also. You have to remember, Denver's lost during the year quite a few times too, and Denver is a good team, but so is Harvard. This is a very evenly matched game, and they were evenly matched coming in. And as we were talking about earlier, Bill Cleary felt very confident. He felt confident in the way his players were reacting to preparing for the game and the way he felt that they were going to come out and play.
Borbo the goal for Harvard and Mathiasen the goal for Denver. It is 1-1 at the end of the first period. We'll be back with Michigan State coach Ron Mason. The score again is 1-1.
Remember last year when I told you how great the season was going to be? Well, I was just going through some of the highlights in the sporting news. There was a big hit for Charlie Hustle, the young doctor taking care of the Mets, and someone very dear to me finally winning his 300th. You can take it from me, this year's going to be just as great. And nobody takes you out to the ball game and brings home all the excitement like the sporting news. You get all the major and minor league action, everything you've got to know and want to know from 40 feature writers around the country. This is your chance to get into the game and sign on with the sporting news. Call now and we'll take you from opening day right through the World Series wrap-up.
Call now 1-800-592-6000 for 36 issues of the Sporting News for 3 easy payments of $5.99. That's 1/2 the regular subscription price. Included at no extra cost will be 3 preview issues. Call now 1-800-592-6000. That's 1-800-592-6000.
The Sporting News, it's terrific.
Welcome back to Providence, Rhode Island. We're at the first intermission. Harvard is hanging tough with Denver. It is 1-1 after 20 minutes of hockey. And hello again, everybody. I'm Jack Edwards, and joining me in the first intermission is Ron Mason. He's the coach of the Michigan State Spartans, who are already into the finals. And this has got to be a pretty nice night for you, a pretty nice whole day, actually. The pressure is off, at least for 24 hours.
Well, I don't think the pressure is ever off, but we did enjoy ourselves today and got a chance to see some scenery in the East. And we're here tonight not only to have fun, but to watch 2 great teams play.
You know, I had a chance to talk to you before the semifinal game that you played last night against Minnesota, and you were saying that maybe Jeff Parker is the guy who most typifies your club. He's a real hustler. He doesn't get a whole lot of print. And I thought that of all the guys on the ice last night, Parker perhaps played the best game. It was kind of fitting that he got the open net goal there at the end.
Well, Jeff's such a hard worker, and of course last night penalty killing was a big part of our team. And he's our leader in that area, so he got a lot of ice time and a lot of chance to show himself. And I think you can see when he's on the ice as to how scrappy he is, how strong he is, and how much ice he can cover, and the amount of ice time that he can take. So I guess maybe it was fitting that he was able to cap the victory with an open net goal.
In your press guide, it says that one of the quotes attributed to you at the beginning of the year was, we're going to try to get off the roller coaster. We don't want to be an up and down team. We want to be known as a team that is there every single year. In what was supposed to be a rebuilding year, you're now in the national championship game. That has to go an awful long way toward accomplishing that goal.
Well, I think the real key is recruiting good athletes, and we've been very fortunate to do that over the last 4 years. Not only kids with good skills on the ice, but good hearts. And I think, you know, they work so hard, and early in the year when we were so young, we had a roller coaster season going. But as the season's gone along, we've been able to come together, play more consistently, and I think sometimes a little spontaneously, and even as much as coaches like teams to be consistent and direct the way the coach wants them to play, that spontaneous wins some games for you. And I think that's been able to win some games over the year, and certainly it was no different last night.
Well, last night you did beat that very classy Minnesota team, a great bunch of kids and a good program that Doug Woog has got going there. You are into the national championship game. Tonight, obviously, you're not just an interested fan. You're taking a close look at these 2 teams. So what do you think of the first 20 minutes of play?
Well, I was really impressed with Harvard's quickness and the way they moved the puck out there. If it wasn't for Olsen and net, I think there might have been a couple more goals Harvard's way. But then again, the Pioneers are very patient. They're a very patient team, and patient teams are very dangerous because you make a mistake and they score on you, and that's exactly what happened in the first period. But whether or not they can keep up that tempo all night long, it's hard to say, but it's a great hockey game and 2 real great teams.
Sounds like you might want to rather have Harvard in the final. Is that true?
No, I don't think so. We'll just take any one of them we get, but they're both great teams, and whoever we happen to get, we're going to have to play our best to beat them.
Coach Ron Mason, thank you very much for joining us in the first intermission. It's a 1-1 hockey game between Harvard and Denver. Of course, we're going to have that national championship final for you live on ESPN, 8 o'clock Saturday night. We'll return to Providence, Rhode Island, and take another look at the first period right after this.
Too? Does a pencil in your hand start you sketching on any old piece of paper, drawing heads or figures or little scenes, or maybe your dog? If you like to play around with a pencil, chances are you have the basic interest needed to help you become a serious art student. Here's how you can find out. Art instruction schools will send you free, without cost or obligation, this simple art test. You take it at home in your spare time. Experts will examine and grade your test. Remember, it's absolutely free. Just write or phone for your free art test today. Phone this number now. Operators are waiting. Or write to Art Test, give your name, address, and age.
Hello again, everybody. I'm Larry Burnett in the ESPN Sports Center newsroom. We hope you're enjoying college hockey action here on ESPN. Let's bring you up to date now on what has been happening tonight in pro hockey. In the National Hockey League, it was the Islanders winners over Washington tonight, 4-3. The Caps, though, still leading Philadelphia by 1 point for that Patrick Division lead. Mike Bossy, a couple of goals tonight, his 57th and 58th for the Islanders. In other action tonight, it was the Rangers over Edmonton 4-2, so the Rangers now 1 point ahead of Pittsburgh in 4th place in the Patrick Division, and that's the last playoff spot in that division. The Rangers snapped a 6-game Oiler win streak tonight. Gretzky had an assist, Messier a goal for Edmonton, Pierre LaRouche goals number 19 and 20 for the Rangers. Calgary a winner tonight over Winnipeg 6-3. Hakan Lube and Joel Otto 2 goals apiece. The Flames had 4 power play goals in that contest. And Los Angeles and Vancouver are all tied at 1. That game is headed for overtime. Sean McKenna, the lone goal for the Kings tonight. Rick Lands, a power play goal for Vancouver. Lots of action tonight in the National Basketball Association. Boston continues to roll, continues to set records. They beat Washington tonight, 116-97. Bill Walton got the start, his first start of the year for the Celtics, chipped in 20 points. The Celtics have now won 26 straight at home. K.C. Jones is now the first NBA coach to have 4 60-win seasons. New Jersey a winner over Chicago tonight. Mike Jaminski, 26 points. Otis Birdsong, 23 for the Nets. It was Milwaukee over Philadelphia, but Philadelphia losers all the way around tonight. Moses Malone out indefinitely with a swollen retina, and Bob McAdoo hyperextended his left knee. Ricky Pierce led the Bucks with 31 points. Detroit a winner tonight over Houston. Bill Laimbeer, 27 points for the Pistons. Akeem Olajuwon, 26 for Houston. They played again without Ralph Sampson tonight. Atlanta topped Indiana 100-92. Dominique Wilkins 32 points for Atlanta. The Pacers' 5th straight loss. They lose it tonight. Denver has topped Utah 128-120. Calvin Nat and Alex English 35 points apiece for the winners as the Nuggets snap a 3-game losing streak. And it was the LA Clippers over Phoenix 107-96, the first road win in the last 10 NBA games for the Clippers. Score was tied 20 times in that game tonight. In baseball news, the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox have pulled off a trade. They've actually swapped designated hitters. Mike Easler goes to the Yankees, and Don Baylor goes to the Red Sox. Easler had 16 homers, 74 RBIs last year. Baylor with 23 homers and 91 runs knocked in last year. The Yankees, by the way, have asked for waivers on 46-year-old Phil Niekro, the knuckleballer. Of course, he won his 300th game last year. He has been cut loose by the Yankees. And Bo Jackson, the 1985 Heisman Trophy winner out of Auburn, also a great baseball player, but he is now ineligible for NCAA baseball at Auburn. He has accepted a plane ticket given to him by the Tampa Bay Bucks. That is against SEC rules. Stay tuned now for more college hockey.
National Car Rental presents an NCAA Championship Classic. The year 1985 as St. John's makes its first Final Four appearance in 23 years against Georgetown.
When you rent one-way from most car rental companies, there are strings attached, like the drop-off charge at the end of the line, the one you pay to help get their car back. At National, there are no strings or mileage charges because we have a whole fleet of cars available for one-way rentals, and they're just $15 a day more than our regular low daily rates. So the choice is yours. Rent one way or the other. National Car Rental, the way to go one way.
In the semifinals, the defending national champion Hoyas played a game of pressure defense and precision offense, continually turning turnovers into baskets. The St. John's points came only after tough battles with the Hoya D, as St. John's star Chris Mullen was kept in check. The year 1985 as Patrick Ewing helped Georgetown to a final showdown with Villanova.
Returning to the Providence Civic Center in Providence, Rhode Island, where at the first intermission it is Harvard 1 and Denver 1 in the national semifinal game. And I'm Jack Edwards along with Lou Nanny, and the news to report from the Harvard locker room about Scott Fusco is not particularly good. He's got strained ligaments in the left knee, and Fusco there, as you see him, the Hobey Baker Award winner for 1986 and a very popular player on his team, and you see his 2 wingers here pointing out to everyone that he is the Hobey Baker Award winner. That happened in practice. Unfortunately, Fusco will not be returning for tonight's game, nor will he return for either the consolation or the championship, and that's really a tough break for the Crimson.
Well, it certainly is. He's been their leader all year long. He's a fellow that they look to in tough situations. At the same time, when someone like that goes out, in the short term, it might not hurt you because others on the club are going to start pulling together and they'll work harder. But if this were over a long term, a week or 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they definitely feel it. Right now, Borbo went in on the power play, for instance, in Fusco's spot, and he got the only goal that Harvard has thus far. But Fusco, a big loss to Harvard at this time.
Well, let's take a look at the first period highlights as the Crimson had a bit of a trouble getting untracked early, but then they really got it together.
Well, this was on the power play, and Borbo's on the right. He gets a screen by McDonald in front. He shoots right through his legs as McDonald's jumping up, and Olsen didn't see it, and it goes right in the net. That was a power play goal that Harvard scored to put them out in front 1-0. You see a very happy Alan Borbo.
All right, Chris Olsen in the Denver goal made sure it was just one.
Well, it's a good thing that he was able to see that puck at the last moment. He was being screened by his defenseman Johnson, but he stood his ground, he stood up, and he was able to take it in the stomach and make the save.
And with that kind of backstopping, the Pioneers came back, put one on the board.
Because of Dallas Gom's intelligence, he gets the puck behind the net. He waits for Dwight Mathiasen to come around the front. Number 9, Mathiasen, their leading goal scorer, gets in good position as he always does. He's able to get the puck away up high over a sprawling Grant Blair, even though he's going down, and that tied the game at 1.
Blair is a fine goalie. He has pulled off some miracles in his career, and he has Harvard at 1-1 through one period. Here's a look at some of his work.
Well, Blair is the type of goaltender that's not going to give an easy goal, even though he was coming out right there to challenge a shooter, getting caught, moving forward. Weiss, who took a shot from the blue line, has an excellent shot. He's got the best shot on the Denver team, but right there, Blair was able to make the save and freeze it for the rebound.
All right, so there is the scoring summary for you. For Harvard, Borbo scoring from Taylor and Benning, and for Denver, Mathiasen scoring from Eckelbarger and Gom, and it is 1-1 after one period. We will return for second period action in the NCAA semifinals from Providence right after this message.
Alan Abelson, the editor of Barron's.
You usually buy a stock in the expectation that it's going to go up. The problem is you're buying it from someone who's equally convinced that it's going down. This sobering observation is brought to you by Barron's, because the difference between happiness and unhappiness in such exchanges often comes down to who's better informed. And that's where we can help, with weekly updates on thousands of stocks and bonds, interviews with insightful stock pickers, reports on promising companies, and one of the most complete statistical digests published anywhere. Of course, you could ignore all that and trust your luck. But then Barron shows up every week without fail, which is more than you can say for luck.
Subscribe to Barron's now and get 26 weeks for only $41 with a money-back guarantee. Call 800-554-9000. 800-554-9000.
Returning to the Providence Civic Center, Jack Edwards along with Lou Nanny. And we want to, as we look at the goalies, Chris Olsen on your left and Grant Blair on your right, we want to try to get the most up-to-date information to you on Scott Fusco's situation. He's got strained ligaments in the left knee, and now we are told we do not know if he's going to be back tomorrow. But we do know that he is going to miss the rest of tonight's game. The national semifinals, the winner to play Michigan State in the national championship. 14-9 shots on goal for the first period. Harvard with the advantage not only in numbers but also in location. They were coming from much closer, better opportunities for the Crimson than for the Pioneers in the opening 20 minutes, Lou.
They certainly did have better opportunities. They had 5 good shots as to Denver's 1, not counting the place where Denver scored from. So Harvard doing a real good job in that first period.
All right, Smith with a break. He's got a big shot. Wrist shot, scores! Only 8 seconds into the second period, Harvard has gone up 2-1.
Smith with his quickness getting around that Denver defenseman, walking in close and letting a rocket go up high to beat Olsen right over the glove. There's Tim Smith. He got that puck. He just broke in from the offside on the power play. He's a right-hand shot. He's on the left side on the power play. That gives him a better shooting angle. And here he comes where he steals that puck, walks in, and watch a good shot as he's fighting off a check. He lets go, and he gets it right up under that crossbar.
Another angle.
Great wrist shot by Tim Smith on the power play, putting Harvard ahead 2-1.
And here comes Smith again. Over the line, pulls up. He has Chalmers fighting for position in front. Pass comes into the middle, and we get a whistle. He's going to come back outside.
Well, he had a man in the crease, and Referee Brian Hart right there on the play saw Greg Chalmers skate through the crease, blew the whistle, face-off will come outside.
The circular crease used by the colleges as opposed to the cornered crease, which is used in the National Hockey League.
Here we get a picture of Bill Cleary, the coach, also a member of the Olympic gold medalist in 1960. Also was on the 56 team where they won a silver medal in Cortina.
Mathiasen bumped by Smith. Now Corley. Long pass goes down into the right wing corner. Gaum had been checked off his feet. He wasn't able to pick it up. Dion to Corley. Let's go from 65 feet. We get an offside called at the line. Face-off comes back to center ice.
Well, Denver not sharp, and there's another indication of it. As the defenseman's taking his time to shoot the puck in, the forward's too anxious getting over the line, causing the offside. They've got to start coordinating their movements and make sure that anytime they got the opportunity to gain the zone like that and gain it easily, that they don't mess it up.
We've heard so much about the size of Denver. Is the quickness of Harvard, or the relative quickness when measured against that Denver size, making the difference right now?
Well, it certainly is. Harvard's quickness is giving all kinds of problems to the Denver defense thus far.
Freyer, after it gets buried in the corner, centering pass comes all the way through to the point. Flick in by Quitone. Mathiasen digs for it. Check it. That was Mathias. Little flip right on goal by Crayer. Bit of a surprise, but Olsen wasn't surprised by it. We'll get the face-off a minute and 5 seconds into the second period. Harvard has hopped on top 2-1. The official scoring on the goal, Smith from McDonald. It happens at 8 seconds of the second period to put the Crimson up 2-1.
And that fella Ed Crayer has been an outstanding youngster for Harvard all season long, and especially here tonight. He's created some opportunities for himself and Ellen Bourbeau, and he is a fellow that the Denver defensemen are going to have to pay particular attention to because he's got a great deal of poise for being a freshman.
Rob Ono against Jeff Lamb. Face off to the right of Olsen. And Ono is gone. Steve Armstrong steps in. Johnson to Lamb. Has Onstad with him. Onstad with a break right side. Armstrong hauled him down. Delayed penalties coming up against Armstrong. Olsen goes to the bench, and we get the call. It'll be a holding against Armstrong. It comes at 1 minute 18 seconds of the second period, and Denver goes up on the power play, and they're going to get the face-off down in the Harvard zone to start off.
Well, Denver's going to need this opportunity to tie the game. Harvard thus far playing a very solid game. And Denver has got a good power play, and this is why they got the power play, because Onstad had broken away after a pass from Lamb. He's breaking in all alone. Steve Armstrong all over top of him, not allowing him to get the shot away, getting caught for holding. Denver on the power play with Harvard leading 2-1, 18:42 to go. Just started the second period.
Golden, the centerman, with McMillan, who hasn't seen much ice time because of the leg injury, and Mathiasen. The point man, Dion, who has it. Smith at the other side. That's McMillan to Mathiasen to Dion. Mathiasen setting up. He drives, saved by Blair, and he covers.
If we can, we'll watch on the face-off now the way Harvard's lining up. If you notice on the right side, they have no one standing on the hash marks. You see Ralph Backstrom down near his defenseman yelling at his players, but Harvard leaving that man all alone on the boards. We can get a look at him, and every time Denver wins the draw, they just get control of the puck because their wing's not being challenged.
And right off the face-off, Barraquette throws it the length of the ice. Ono, Barraquette, Sweeney, and Pulaski, the penalty killers for Harvard. Mathiasen. Bumped by Pulaski. Nice body check, and Barraquette again sends it down the length of the ice. A minute 25 to go on the power play for the Pioneers. Dion. Smith didn't control. Ono with the check. Smith picks it up, dumps it in around behind Blair. Sweeney after it there. McMillan challenges. Mathiasen now goes to the backboards. McMillan. Smith tees it up. His drive. Stopped by the stick of Pulaski. He just trapped the puck and sent it out. 50 seconds to go on the power play. McMillan. Pass picked off, and McDonald throws it in. Harvard changing up. Good penalty kill shift for that unit. McDonald just trying to get the face-off, and he does so. It'll come to the right of Chris Olson. 38 seconds to go on the penalty kill for the Crimson.
Coach Cleary likes when McDonald's out there killing penalties. He said with his quickness, he presents all kind of problems to that defense. He gets on him very aggressively. He's able to get in quickly, not allowing the defense to move the puck up as leisurely as they like to and as assuredly as they like to. And McDonald's also a threat to score goals. He's a fellow that's got a great idea where the net is. He's had 22 goals this year for Harvard. He had a big weekend against Western Michigan last week.
Greg Chalmers is going to take the draw for Harvard. Jeff Lamb there for Denver, and Lamb wins it. Right up ahead to Eckelbarger, has to circle back. Johnson up ice. Mercier snaps it in. Driven to the point, kept in by Johnson. Lamb works middle. Taken down by Benning. Eckelbarger. Across the box, shot by Mercier, deflects all the way through to the boards and never got through to Blair. 10 seconds to go on the power play. McDonald can't clear it. Eckelbarger closes. He gets bumped by Benning. Benning up to McDonald. Penalty has expired. We are 5-on-5. Johnson throws it into the middle. Eckelbarger with a tip try. And Taylor sends it around for Benning. Benning's long pass center ice intended for Armstrong, never got through to him. Eckelbarger with a break right side, tees it up, it goes wide, far side. Mercier's drive, tipped through the middle. Lamb, Taylor on him. And we get a face-off. It'll come to the Harvard zone, 16-17 to play, second period. Crimson up a goal, 2-1 on Denver.
And even though that Mark Benning is only 5'8" back there in defense, he's extremely quick. He came to Harvard after Notre Dame. He was initially at Notre Dame, dropped their hockey program, went to a club program. He came over, and he's had an outstanding season. And that fellow right there, Eckelbarger, is from Littleton, Colorado. And there aren't too many players in college from Colorado, but this team right here has got two of them. Weiss is also from Colorado.
Jim Onstad with David Henson and Tom Weiss, the line. Mayer and Gorley on defense, and that is Hanson. Mathias digging it free again. Back behind the goal. Hanson's turnaround shot in front, and Mathias's rebound goes wide to the boards. Here's Barraquette. Feed up ahead for Crayer, goes too far. It'll go for icing against Harvard. 15:43 to go in the second.
Well, you can see why Denver's only got one goal. Every time they get an opportunity, if they do, Grant Blair's been there to make the save with stops like that. He stood his ground just perfectly. He was in great position. Even though there was a lot of traffic in front of him, he moved along, he stood on his feet, and he cut down the angle. Denver not able to get that puck home. Christoffel coming around in front all alone, but all he met was Blair.
Corbo having won the face-off, Harvard is able to take it all the way deep into the Denver zone. Crayer, centering pass for Barraquette, picked off by Mathiasen. Mathiasen left side. Now up ahead for Eckelbarger. Gomes' pass goes too far. Sweeney drives it off the boards. Crayer. Here's Borbo with a break. He has a goal already tonight. Backhander in on Olsen, saved, and Johnson picks it off. Barraquette wedging it to the boards. Gaume gets the face-off. We'll be back to Providence with the score: Harvard 2 and Denver 1.
Give me a light. A Bud Light.
If you just ask for a light beer, you never know what you'll get.
Case of light? No, Bud Light.
So if you want the less filling light beer with the first name and taste, don't just ask for a light beer.
Give me light.
Ask them to bring out their best.
A Bud Light.
Bud Light. Because everything else
Thanks.
is just a light.
Even though Alan Bourbeau is quick, Jim Smith from Denver is their quickest defenseman. You see him right here coming back to cut off the opportunity for Bourbeau. And all Bourbeau was able to get was a soft shot, one-handed at goaltender Olsen. Smith with the most quickness to convert it forward back to defense on that Denver defense. Stopped that opportunity.
The line said to be the best forecheckers for Harvard out there right now. Greg Chalmers centering Andy Gianfasa and Peter Chiarelli. And it comes to Chiarelli. Quick shot. Knocked down. Catone at the point. Dumps it in. Goes past Corley. Gianfasa's pass hit the skirt of the net. Gets his own rebound. He gets bumped by Gourley. Lamb away for Denver. Intercepted Chiarelli. And Chiarelli dumps in. Gourley's without a stick. Jan Fazza says, thank you very much. Right in front. Shot kicked away by Olsen. Nifty skate save. Tougher than it looked. Chiarelli on the rebound. That's Jan Fazza. Comes back to the point. Catone drills it around the bottom of the boards. Onstad bumped by Chiarelli. Lamb loses it. Jan Fazza in after it. He digs to the corner. Chiarelli's also there. Jan Fazza goes after Dion, takes a poke in the head, retains possession of the puck though. Chiarelli takes the bounce off a skate, it deflects to Lamb. Lamb gets it out over that blue line. Christoffoli, long shot in. Chalmers. Pulaski bumped in center zone. Chalmers loses the puck. Mathias closing, has to go back in the goal. He's got Hansen parked in front. Hansen gets eliminated on a check there. Catone. Catone center zone has Jan Fazza. It's a 2-on-2. Working on Mercier. Off to Jan Fazza. Wrist shot. Got knocked down. That was a play by Derek Mayer on defense. Getting in the way of the puck. 13:45 to play. Second period. Harvard up 2-1 in the national semifinals. Pulaski with a shift dumps it in over the line. Mercier takes it away. He's given trouble by Ono. Now Mayer breaks it free. Poke check at the line by Pulaski. Gets it loose. Now Ono. Up ahead quickly. Malone couldn't do too much with it. Malone to Ono. Ono with a shift. Walks down the slot. Wrister, no. Armstrong couldn't get his stick loose from Weiss. Now here's a pass up ahead. Hansen gets bumped by Taylor.
Actually, Ono had the defenseman beat. He beat him so bad the defenseman went by him and he shot and he hit him in the back with it.
Here's Ono with another shift. Comes over the line. Still has it. Now loses. His Gaume is back. Armstrong mucking for it.
Ono's been the most consistent player for Coach Cleary over his Harvard career, and that comes from the coach, that statement. He's had some great players there, yet he deems him the most consistent throughout.
Jim Smith all by himself took it down, and Harvard works it back as a unit. Benning, right side to McDonald, absorbs the hit, loses the puck. Gaume says, let's get something together, Pioneers. Away from McDonald, gets it to Smith. Right side, Mathiasen. He's one of the big guns. Back for Smith, too far ahead. And it's controlled by Josh Kaplan. Kaplan off the boards. Chalmers. Chalmers' pass goes behind Tim Smith. Olsen leaves it off for Johnson. His pass from Mathiasen never got through. Tim Smith centering pass. No one home for Harvard. Chalmers. McDonald. Back to Chalmers. Didn't see it coming. Gaume. 3-on-2 for the Pioneers. Mathiasen has Eckelbarger right. Mathiasen to Eckelbarger. His pass into the skates of Kaplan, who had left his feet to play the puck. Harvard trying to get a whistle. You can hear him asking for it. Kaplan had to walk in right in front of his own goal with it. Now Kaplan knocks it clear. Smith, Chalmers working 1-on-3. Chalmers leaves it on the boards. Back to the point. Sweeney drills it down past Chalmers. Smith right in front. Sweeney's blast from the point goes all the way through right wing corner.
And the Harvard speed giving Denver all kinds of problems. Harvard turning that puck up ice quickly.
Mathiasen working 1-on-2. And now Kaplan goes out after him. Here's Bourbeau. Lamb has Onstad trailing the play. Drops it off Mercier. Mercier wrists it into the middle. It's taken away by Crayer. Crayer works 1-on-2. Mayer. Offside pass and a nice hit in center zone by Catone. Grant player wants a face-off. He gets it. 10:49 remaining second period, and Harvard with a 2-1 lead on Denver. And I'll tell you right now, it looks as if Denver's cohesion is coming apart a little bit.
And quite a check put on Christoffoli there by Harvard. You'll see it right here as Christoffoli's coming up ice. Butch Catone gives him the hip and flips him right over. Harvard really becoming a very aggressive hockey team, putting all kinds of pressure on Denver. Denver not able to come out with the puck very well. Harvard turning it up ice, creating opportunities for themselves, having an excellent period.
Bourbeau winning that drop back. Barraquette center zone. Bourbeau still fighting for it. Now here's a break. Mathias has Weiss middle. Mathias upended on the check by Pulaski. Weiss goes piling into the boards, and Pulaski goes flying down. Mathias digging. They're trying for a face-off. Right in front, shot, scores! Great work on the backboards, and the goal by Hansen. David Hansen ties it up. 9:37 into the second period. It's 2-2.
Tom Weiss used his size very effectively. 6'4", 220s on the end boards. And with one hand, he gives that puck to Hansen right there. Here's the pass out, one hand by Weiss. And Hansen all alone in front just beats Grant Blair right after Harvard had sustained action for 4 minutes. Look at this play by Weiss. One hand's a pass, 6'4", 220, holding the check off, getting it to a free man all alone in front. David Hansen tying his game at 2 for Denver. What a play by Weiss. Holding off the defenseman, getting it in one hand and flicking a pass right over the other forward's stick to a Dave Hansen who was left all alone in front, and he made no mistake.
And just as the quickness of Harvard was starting to tip the game their way, the size of Denver comes back and makes a difference on that play, and it turns it into a 2-2 hockey game once again. Eckelbarger left side. Smith tees it up. Shot saved by Blair. Will return to Providence halfway through the second. It's Harvard 2 and Denver 2.
It'll work on your dandruff. Yeah, but I'm afraid it won't leave my hair the way I like it. Hey, this is great stuff.
Today's Head & Shoulders.
It's all I use. Okay.
Tough dandruff protection that works only on your scalp, not your hair. Gentle conditioners go there.
Tough on dandruff, right? But great on hair.
Today's Head & Shoulders. Dandruff care that's good for your hair.
Well, for 10 minutes of this period, it looked like Harvard had complete control, and all of a sudden, with one flick of the stick by Weiss, he gets it to Hansen. The game's tied. Harvard had really sustained the pressure on Denver right from the outset of this period, scoring at 8 seconds on the power play and going from there.
Gaume, Mathias, and Eckelbarger, the line for Denver. Out there for Harvard, it is Ono with Armstrong and Perron.
Yeah, and no one's on the shooter on the left. If that face-off is lost, Denver's Mathiasen will have a great chance.
But Armstrong wins the draw for Harvard. Taylor clears, not out. Smith's shot through a screen, not on goal. Ono, a bad for Armstrong. Delayed offside coming if Harvard touches it inside the line, but as you see, Denver clears. Taylor. Armstrong. Ono has Perron with him. Offside at the line. It's 2-2 with 9:40 to go in the second period. We remind you, ESPN's going to bring you the Stanley Cup playoffs. They begin Wednesday, April 9th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That'll be the divisional semifinals. We'll take it all the way through. More than 30 live playoff games. It's the most ever seen on an American network, and we're proud to be bringing it to you on ESPN. Who will be in it, though, Lou? I guess that's the big question right now as the teams scramble in the last few days of the regular season.
And who will be playing whom? We don't know at this time.
Lamb chucks it up ahead for Denver. Kaplan's pass coming through to Chiarelli. Chiarelli, Jan Faza, and Chalmers line for Harvard has done some damage tonight. And here with the break is Christophily. Blair out of his cage to knock it away. Puck comes off the linesman. Dion sends it cross ice. Gorley picks it up. Chalmers checking him. Christophily in behind Blair. Sweeney turns off the boards. Chalmers picks it up, has Jan Faza up ahead, gives it to him. Kicks it up and in on Chris Olsen, who snuffs it.
Bill Cleary's done two things as we see Timbers getting a little short around the net. But Bill Cleary has done two things tonight. He's tried to clog up the middle. He's always had a man in the offensive zone in the center, forcing the puck to the outside. He's always had one of his people up high when the puck's in their zone to allow that defenseman, or the Denver defenseman, not allow them to get in. Denver going to have a penalty here as we'll see Lamb in front of the net. Watch after the puck is frozen by Olsen. Lamb right in front of the net. Goes in, gives a cross-check right here to Jan Faza as he was... Dion was pushing him, and Lamb's coming in from the top side, and he's going to give a cross-check to Jan Faza. And that's going to give Harvard the opportunity to go back in a power play.
All right, Lamb roughing after the whistle at 11:05 of the second period, and Harvard sends out Borbo between Smith and McDonald. The point men are Taylor and Benning, and Borbo has filled in pretty well for the injured Scott Fusco.
And Harvard's got 2 power play goals on 3 opportunities.
Benning, Taylor. Benning as Smith gives it to him. Back to Benning. Taylor at the point. Borbo closes, drive, saved by Olsen. That was the same spot from which Borbo scored earlier in the game in the first period. Now here's a break. Gone. Mathiasen. Left side, Smith. Shot goes off the glass.
You can always count on Jim Smith moving up in a play when they're killing a penalty like that. He's got great speed. He follows it up, and he could be dangerous. Harvard is very aware of that.
Minute 22 to go on the Harvard power play. Lane McDonald over the line onside. We got an interference call coming up.
Was a good call.
Comes at 11:48 of the second period. Let's pick it up.
Well, what Harvard tries to do is have a man way up ice, and as the forward's bringing the puck up ice, that man runs interference in behind, and that time we see Jim Smith ran it over on Onstead right at the blue line. As a matter of fact, Coach Backstrom yelled from across the ice, but referee Brian Hart right in position. He saw it immediately. He's an excellent referee from the CCHA. He called it immediately, and a penalty going to Harvard's Tim Smith for interference. They try and set a pick there and allow a free lane to be open for the puck carrier, but that was too flagrant, too obvious, and done right in front of referee Brian Hart. That nullifies the power play advantage of Harvard.
Hard to believe. Smith, a representative of that fine academic institution of Harvard, believing in censorship, but the hand in front of the lens. Guess he doesn't want to be identified as the guy who took his team off the power play. We're 4-on-4 now. Lane McDonald, center zone. He's getting trouble from behind from Weiss. Weiss had that key assist. Pulaski's shot tipped by McDonald goes off the glass. Picked up Gorley. Hansen to Weiss. Weiss lets it rip. Catone. Chalmers. Has McDonald left. Chalmers. Wheels. Off to McDonald. McDonald chased by Gorley across the middle. Here's Pulaski with time. Right in front. Comes back to McDonald. Bad angle shot. Hit the skirt of the net. Goes wide. Chalmers. Back to the point. Pulaski, his face mask, chin strap is broken, and it's flipping back and forth. Gorley for Denver. Out into center zone. Chalmers just pokes it back over the line. 10 seconds from now, Denver will be on a 5-on-4 power play. But here's Barraquette. Barraquette right to Sweeney. His shot was blocked, never got through to Olsen. And Denver is on the power play. It is now 5-on-4. But here's Borbo, top of the slot. Barraquette back to the line. Kaplan's shot goes wide. Bounces out the other side. Dion. Denver wanting to change up. Olsen held his hand up as if he expected an icing call there, and it's a power play for Denver. And we got a delayed call coming against Harvard. The power play opportunity will get better. Lamb in on Blair. He gloves it, and we'll get another penalty.
Alan Borbeau is going to go off for a slashing after the pass was made, coming up ice by Derek Mayer. Borbeau took a slash deep in the zone. You don't want to take penalties in the defensive zone like that when you're short-handed. Borbeau already out of the play, slashed back at Mayer, and Hart saw it, and now Denver will have a 2-man advantage for 14 seconds, and then they'll have a 1-man advantage. Denver, just previous to that, had allowed the left point of Harvard to get 4 shots. Mark Benning had 4 shots. Tom Weiss following the puck over to the left side, and that point was always open. It kept coming back there, and he never closed that off. Harvard, very unfortunately, didn't get any goals out of it, but they had some good opportunities from it. Denver's going to have to pay more attention to those point men because Harvard is getting that puck back out there, and they're getting some good chances.
Lamb has replaced John McMillan on the power play unit for Denver, and he lines up opposite Benning for Harvard. It is Benning, Ono, and Taylor. Right across the creases. Blair was down and out, but way too fast to handle for Denver. Mayer right in front. Mathiasen couldn't find the handle, and Ono sticks at the length of the ice. It is now 5-on-4 as Smith comes out of the penalty box. He goes right to the Harvard bench, and Armstrong comes over the boards. Mayer sidesteps the Benning check, dumps it in. Golm after it. Bump by Armstrong. Taylor runs into a check. Mathiasen for Denver. Back of the goal. Lamb sticked away by Blair as the keeper made his own sweep check. Smith. Drive. That was Ono's stick in the way. Mayer throws it right through to no one. Benning wants the face-off. Mathiasen in, giving him opposition. Minute 10 to go on the power play for Denver. 5:35 left, second period. It's 2-2.
The Denver point men on the power play have not been very effective. As we look at Dwight Mathiasen, the shooter on this power play, the man they want to get the puck to. But the point men on the power play for Denver are not getting the puck through at all, either their shots or their passes. They're not completing the passes to the open man, and when they take shots, they're always getting them deflected. And watch Blair, very alert as he sees Lamb try to come out the corner and pass it across to Golm, who you see in the right side of the net. Blair just poke checks it away. Very alert goaltender, good stand-up goaltender. Doesn't lose his balance.
Defenseman Don Sweeney to take the face-off against Golm, and now McMillan is back on the ice. Smith to Dion, back to Smith. That was the check by McDonald that cleared it a minute to go on the power play for the Pioneers. Smith gives it away. The clear by Pulaski. Grant Dion leaving it off for Golm. Golm has McMillan right. Drops it back to Dion. Back to Golm over the line. Onside, sticked out of there by Lane McDonald.
Denver not coming with much speed at all, and Harvard lining up across the blue line, not letting him in. Denver's going to have to put it in deep.
Mathiasen went down. Some Denver fans wanted a penalty, but it looked more like a dive to referee Brian Hart as Harvard clears again. 20 seconds to go on the penalty kill for the Crimson. Good hit by McDonald in center zone. This may create something. Sweeney dumps it in. McDonald's going to go to the bench and get another set of fresh legs over the boards.
Just notice Denver's flat-footed quite a bit. They're not coming up with any kind of speed at all.
Weiss over the line. Sweeney wraps him up. Lamb battling along the boards. Barraquette's pass comes back to the point. A long, hard shot. It was wide of the goal. Mayer, another one. This is blocked by Pulaski as the penalty expires. It's all 5-on-5, all even. Weiss digging. Shot right on. A save by Blair. That surprised him a little bit. He was deep in his cage. Here's a center zone break. Crayer drops it back. Barraquette right in front. Crayer tried to stuff it home. No. And we're going to get a delayed call. We'll be back to Providence. 3:57 to go in the second, and it's 2-2, Harvard and Denver.
Number 7, Denver on a hook.
If you're confident up north, raise your hand. If you're confident in Dixie, raise your hand. If you're sure from east to west, sure is one you love the best, raise your hand if you're sure.
From the bleachers to the Met, Sure goes on feeling dry, not wet, and helps keep you feeling dry and confident all day, anywhere.
Confident, confident, dry and secure. Raise your hand if you're sure.
Jeff Lamb back checking on the play, saw Bourbeau was free. It looked like a 3-on-3 play, but Bourbeau had a step on Lamb, and he was hooked down by, Bourbeau was hooked down by Lamb, and now Harvard going back in a power play. Bourbeau was driving for that net, looking for a pass across or a rebound. Lamb pulling him down. Harvard now getting the opportunity to break the tie, and they've been pretty effective on their power play.
It is Bourbeau with Smith and McDonald up front. Smith, normally a defenseman, but the injury to Fusco has changed Harvard's line a little bit. Smith has the big shot. Here's Mathiasen with a short-handed break right in front, and Blair makes the stop on Golm. Shot through by Johnson, and another save by Blair. That's two on this penalty kill. Two shots by the Pioneers. Taylor. Smith takes it away. Flicks it clear.
And Denver defensemen are sagging back, allowing Harvard to gain control of the zone, whereas Harvard defensemen were standing right up on Denver, not giving them the zone.
Smith bumped into the boards. Down. Johnson on that check. Benning kind of slam dunks it over the glass, and we'll have a face-off coming outside the Denver line. 3:16 to go in the second period. 1:20 left on the power play.
Well, Benning, only 5'8", couldn't quite reach that puck, and what he did reach, he only got his fingers on it, knocked it over the glass, so the face-off will come outside the zone. You try to keep it in. Denver's aggressive killing penalties when they get you in your defensive zone. Up front, they'll go after you, but as the puck is being brought up ice, their defensemen are sagging back, and Harvard's been able to gain control of the zone very easily. Once they do that, they like to move it around and get the shooter, which is usually Barbeau, off to the right side, and Barbeau can let fly, and he's already got one from there tonight.
Caron dumps it in around behind the Denver goal. Olsen corrals it. Dion tries to drill it clear, kept in. Pulaski across to Caron. Onstad checking him. Puck comes free. Here's Gorley. Flips in, one hop. Blair makes the save. We're under a minute to go on the Harvard power play. Nice play by Onstad as he just stick the puck down out of midair. Here's Rob Ono, kicks it up too far in front of himself, and Dion scales it down to the right of Grant Blair. You're wondering where Scott Fusco is. He had to leave the game about midway through the first period. Strained knee ligaments, will not return tonight. Fusco, the 1986 Hobey Baker Award winner. Dion. Pass intercepted. Pulaski, now it gets by him on the boards. Mathiasen pokes it out center zone. Catone to Caron. Caron to Armstrong. He's knocked away by Smith. Right in front, oh no. Tried to kick it ahead to the stick, but Dion was in the way. Daum rags the puck. 10 seconds to go on the penalty kill for the Pioneers, and he'll just wait until his team gets all even. Throws it down the length of the rink, and 1 second now, 0 seconds remain, and we're back to 5-on-5. Armstrong bumped at his line. Barraquette with a nice shift, but Weiss takes it away. Armstrong, trouble from Lamb. Weiss pokes it inside the zone. Catone there for Harvard. Minute 44 to go, second period. It's 2-2. Harvard and Denver in a real beauty here. We get an icing call against the Crimson.
Well, after Harvard had 2 straight power play goals, they got 2 more chances on the power play, and they weren't very effective on either. Denver doing a much better job that time, and Olsen right there relieved that he really didn't have to make any tough saves at all. A fine job by the Denver penalty killing unit that time, and Bill Cleary trying to get his team fired up somewhat and get back to the kind of pace they had for the first 10 minutes of the period. Letting his players know what he wants done and expects from them from now on. It seems Harvard, after that second goal by Denver, just before the 10-minute mark, has sagged somewhat in their aggressiveness up front when they've been forechecking.
Matthias, Hansen, and Weiss, the line for the Pioneers. But for Harvard, this is Don Sweeney and now Josh Kaplan. Weiss on the boards. Barraquette to center zone. Hansen there. Now here's Crayer. He dumps in. Bourbeau, who's gotten a lot of time on the ice. On the forecheck, but Mercier's there first. Hansen. Matthias. Overskates it. Sweeney bumped by Mathiasen. Matthias and Mathiasen on the ice at the same time. Mayer. Final minute of play, second period. It is 2-2, Denver and Harvard. Lamb right in front, Mathiasen couldn't control. Crayer turns it back. His pass right into the slot. Bounced off a Harvard player and then right back in on Grant Blair.
Well, that puck came right off the leg of Dallas Gaum as he's coming across the center, and it almost went in. Blair very alert, made the save and froze it. But right now, Denver's starting to forecheck aggressively, playing much more like they're capable of. At the same time, they always have a forward and better position than they had in the first period. In fact, the first 30 minutes back there to help the defense somewhat. The defense isn't being left alone as much as they were earlier in this game.
Lou, we've heard so much about Denver's conditioning, and Ralph Backstrom skates the Pioneers extremely hard through practices, but they're only skating 3 lines tonight, and Harvard's skating 4. Is that going to balance it out?
No, it shouldn't affect them at all. They've been playing 3 lines all year long, and the pace of this game is no different than some of the games they've played, and they've played them in Denver, Mile High, where it's a little tougher to get oxygen. It's a little harder to play when you're up in Denver.
Matthias inside of the goal. He's belted by Taylor. Comes back to Dion. Dion cross ice to Smith, who flicks it in. Taylor overskates it. Gets a second chance. Pass Benning to McDonald. McDonald throws it through into the center zone. 30 seconds to go, second period. Dion, long pass up ahead, too far for Smith. Lamb has to take it back in the line because Smith was inside. Now the pass comes outside the line and it's deflected back in, so we get the offside. 23 seconds to go, second period. Denver has outscored its opponents by an average of almost 2 goals a game in the third period in the stretch, and can't do too much better than that for the Pioneers.
And this fellow, Mark Benning's one of the people that's going to have to stop him. His brother, Brian, plays for the Toronto Maple Leafs, or Jim, excuse me, for the Maple Leafs, and Brian was drafted by St. Louis. Quite a hockey family.
Chalmers is out there with Smith and McDonald as Billy Cleary is really mixing up the lines here in the final seconds of the second period. Taylor flicks it clear, 10 seconds to go, no icing rule. Smith off the boards with 3 seconds to go. Lamb will just waste it. Long drive going wide of Grant Blair, and it is a 2-2 hockey game after 40 minutes. And what a hockey game we've seen so far. Very balanced as one team seems to get the edge, Harvard's quickness, and then we see the great play by Weiss to provide that size edge for Denver. And it's about as even as it gets, really. Scoreboard would indicate that, 2 apiece with 20 minutes to go, Lou.
Well, Harvard had the majority of the play for the first 30 minutes. It was a great play by Weiss that really has gotten Denver back in his hockey game. Denver was not playing anywhere where they're capable of playing, yet they were still in the hockey game just trailing by 1. And when Weiss made that play, it seemed to pick him up in the last 10 minutes this period. Denver has started to come on. Another thing, we were talking about the conditioning. Denver being a physical team and been involved in many physical games this year, they're used to that type of play. Physicalness and being body checked throughout the game will take a toll on you. However, Harvard going with 4 lines, this will nullify some of that effect of them being bodied so much all night long. Yet Denver, it won't affect them nearly as much because they have played this style all season long, and there's people that really depend on the physical play to get them the kind of wins that they've had this year.
It is a 2-2 hockey game in the Final Four. This is the second semifinal. The winner to go on and meet Michigan State for the national championship. We'll be back to Providence after this message. Our guest will be John Simpson of the NCAA Hockey Committee.
I'm Charles Schwab. Over 1 million investors who make their own investment decisions trade with us. Here are a few reasons why.
Bill, I got some advice for you. It won't help your golf game, but it'll do wonders for your wallet.
I'm listening, Jay.
I've been buying and selling stock through Charles Schwab.
Schwab, he's a discount broker.
Right. I've been saving 50, 60, sometimes over 70% on commissions.
Well, I've heard of Schwab, but frankly, I've wondered what kind of service I might get from a discount broker.
Schwab will surprise you. I've never had better service or faster trade executions anywhere. And of course, there's no sales pressure.
Well, good. I hate sales calls, and I like to save money. Schwab sounds like my kind of broker.
For a free booklet on how you can save up to 76% on brokerage commissions, call 800-554-9000, toll free. That's 800-554-9000. Charles Schwab, a Bank America company, member SIPC.
The scoreboard reads Harvard 2, Denver 2 after 40 minutes of action, and it should be a terrific third period coming up in the NCAA semifinals. The winner to go on and meet Michigan State for the national championship. And welcome back to Providence, everybody. I'm Jack Edwards, and joining me from the NCAA Hockey Committee is John Simpson. John, you got to be awfully pleased. This is a terrific hockey game we're seeing here.
It's a great hockey game. You know, I got to give Harvard credit. They're so quick. And without Scott Fusco, their leader and their captain, they're doing a tremendous job.
WCHA fans have got to be wondering what's going on here. I mean, they saw Minnesota eliminated last night to a great CCHA team in Michigan State. And now perhaps another year without a WCHA team in that championship final. It's possible because Denver is 20 minutes maybe away from going into the consolation game if Harvard can score 1 and hang on.
Well, you're absolutely right, but I think you can appreciate when the Final Four get here, the Final Four teams, they're all great teams. And on any given night, any team can win, and this game is far from over. It's very hot down there, and you know, I just hope it doesn't tell on Harvard.
Well, John, you're one of the people who's responsible for lining up the road to the Final Four for many of these teams. And I know there were some people who were upset at Western Michigan, and I wonder if you can explain for them and for us the process by which teams are sent to different locations. Western Michigan had to go on the road and play Harvard, which had not lost and did not lose a game at home this year. They ended up 15-0-1 in Bright Center.
I understand that. You know, everybody faults the committee. I think it's a little easier on me this year.
It's always the committee's fault.
But Boston University was in contention, so I withdrew from the committee this year and was not in the final vote. But they make a great decision. They look at the wins and loss records. They look at scores against each team. It's the most difficult decision. And let's just say, hypothetically, he had sent Western with home ice and sent Michigan State on the ice. Of course, then the Michigan State fans would have said, what the hell is wrong with the committee?
Yeah. The NCAA obviously is concerned with the sport, but it's obviously also concerned with academics. You now have college hockey players playing well upwards of 40 games a season. Is this starting to have an effect on academics? Is there any tracing that you're doing? Are you looking at the progress of some of these athletes, and are they having trouble completing their course requirements with the unbelievable load of games?
Well, again, I can't speak too much for the Central League or the Western League, but I've talked to a number of the athletic directors and the coaches in the East. They haven't seen it as a problem, but, you know, 40 games takes a tremendous amount of time. They have to miss class time. The competition in the classroom is particularly fierce. It's got to have some kind of effect. Maybe the youngster who'd have a B, maybe ends up with a C, and it has some kind of effect, there's no question.
How healthy is college hockey right now? Are programs making money? Are we in danger of having cutbacks? Are we in danger of having schools drop programs, go back to club status?
I don't see it happening now. I think most of the colleges, particularly, again, speaking for the East, have made a commitment in their budget to college hockey. And I don't see them backing off. When I do talk to the men from the Western League and the Central League, they say that attendance is up, that interest is up. And I think if you look at the finals out at the Michigan State, if you look at the Beanpot, some of the great tournaments that we've had, there is a place for college hockey in the intercollegiate scene.
All right, well, we've had a terrific semifinal so far. In this one, it's 2-2 between Harvard and Denver, and we look forward to the final 20 minutes of action. So stay with us from Providence as we bring you more semifinals in the NCAA hockey tournament.
Have a lot of stamina. You have to be able to keep your cool, and you're a problem solver. You know, a problem arises and you've got to solve it, and you better do it quick. If you don't have a good sense of humor, it's not going to be fun. And if anybody stops and thinks, the game of basketball is a game, and games are supposed to be fun. And I have a good time, and I try at all costs to have a good head on my shoulders. Fans yell, holler, scream, it doesn't bother me. I mean, if probably I was up there, I'd be yelling, hollering, screaming too. It's part of the game. I would like coaches to know that most officials are very professional. And when they walk out there on the floor, they're going to give it 110%. And they're out there to officiate the game of basketball because they like it. And they're out there to do a good job. Officiating's not a job that people do to make money at. They do it because they enjoy it.
This message furnished by the NCAA.
Jack Edwards along with Lou Nanne. We are in Providence, Rhode Island. It is 2-2 between Harvard and Denver after 2 periods of hockey, and we've really seen a good one going here. And I guess this is what you really hope for in a national semifinal. It's going to come down to 20 minutes of action.
Well, I guess you hope for it when you're watching, but when you're playing, you don't hope for it. You'd like to be winning by about 6 at this time. It certainly is going to come down to that. If we get a winner by that time, the way these two teams are going, we could have overtime.
The first goal in that second period, it came right off the bat. Harvard really making the most of the opportunity off the opening faceoff.
Well, they were on the power play, and Tim Smith, who's got a good angle, he steals the puck and cuts in. Watch a high shot over Olsen's glove. An excellent shot. He had to get it away quick. He was being bothered by the defenseman. He just snapped it off. You can see he's got a great shot and a very excited Tim Smith, and well, he should be. A great play by him.
Seems that Harvard has recovered reasonably well from the loss of Scott Fusco. He went out with the strained knee ligaments about midway through the first period, and Harvard has been able to be quick on the boards. And of course, you're going to miss a guy who's the Hobie Baker Award winner, but again, Harvard has been playing quite well. On the other hand, the size that Denver has did become most evident when they did score the goal that equaled it up 2-2, as Weiss did a terrific job checking on the backboards.
Well, he's 6'4", and he weighs well over 200 pounds, and he's holding off a defenseman with one hand, and then all he does with his other hand is shovel a pass right over the stick of a Harvard forward, and David Hansen's all alone in front of the net. He's standing there unmolested. He just puts that puck right by the goaltender Blair, tying this game. A great individual effort by Weiss, a good shot by Hansen because he had to score the goal, but just the kind of effect the size does have when you are along the boards. You can control those boards and control that puck, and oftentimes it pays off as it did in that instance.
So for the third period, what do we look ahead to here?
Well, I would expect if I'm Harvard, I'm going to play the same way. Very quick, try and break that puck up high. It sort of immobilizes the Denver defenseman, and Denver's got to keep using their size, and they've got to be more diligent in their own zone.
Is Ralph Backstrom opening himself up to a little bit of second guessing here? He's drilled his guys so hard this week. By far, Denver has skated harder in practice than anybody else. if they run out of gas in the third period, are we going to hear the second guesses?
They're not going to run out of gas. That's not going to affect them. I don't see how you're going to second guess a coach for anything about how he practiced all week. These fellas are in excellent condition. They've been playing all year long, and they've had to go through tougher games than this, and they've had to play 2 nights. This is only the first night. There should be no reason why they're going to run out of gas after having the kind of schedule they've gone through.
All right, it's Ralph Backstrom's bunch against Billy Cleary's gang, and we'll do it up. 20 minutes of action to decide who goes to the national finals. Harvard 2 and Denver 2 will return for third period action from Providence right after this.
When furniture has layers of ugly paint, use Formby's paint remover. But for old varnish, use Formby's Furniture Refinisher. An independent lab proved my paint remover is more powerful than other well-known brands, yet it won't raise the grain. Formby's Furniture Refinisher uses my special method to dissolve the ruined finish and reveal the wood's hidden beauty. So for paint, Formby's Paint Remover. And for varnish, Formby's Furniture Refinisher. For great results and guaranteed satisfaction, remember, there's only one Homer Formby.
Look how water can destroy unprotected wood, but not if it's protected with Thompson's Water Seal. Use Thompson's Water Seal waterproofer on dozens of surfaces. Brush on Thompson's for an invisible barrier that helps prevent water from entering and damaging brick, wood, and concrete. Your house isn't really protected until it's protected with Thompson's Water Seal. Many stores now have special values on Thompson's Water Seal.
Hi, everybody. I'm Larry Burnett in the ESPN Sports Center newsroom. More college hockey coming up in just a little bit, but first an update here on what's been going on in sports tonight. First of all, in the National Hockey League, where the Islanders beat Washington tonight 4-3. Mike Bossy, a couple of goals, his 57th and 58th. Very early in that game, in the center of the screen, you are going to see some bad luck. Dennis Potvin checks Bent Gustafson. He's the leading assist man for Washington. Gustafson goes down hard. He has a fractured tibia. What that means is he broke his right leg. He's going to be out for some time. Later in the period, Isles short-handed, but Randy Boyd got up to Mike Bossy, and it was 1-0 New York. It took an hour to play the first 20 minutes. Why, you ask? This is why. Alan Hayworth gets held by Rich Crum, and Billy Smith goes after him, gets in some shots. Scott Stevens dumps Smith. Everybody's all over the ice. Smith was later rejected. A game misconduct penalty. The fans say bye-bye, Billy. It was 2-1 New York in the second period, and Bossy scores on another breakaway. 3-1 Isles. You can't leave him alone. And then third period, New York on the power play. Bobby Bourne goes behind the Caps goal. He feeds it out to Brent Sutter, and he scores it 4-2 New York. They finally win tonight, that final 4-3. And the Caps, though, are still leading Philadelphia by 1 point for that Patrick Division lead. At Madison Square Garden tonight, it was the Rangers taking on the Edmonton Oilers, and the Rangers came up with a 4-2 victory. That snapped a 6-game Oiler win streak, and we've got highlights from that game as well. First period, Jim Weimer gets it out to Pierre LaRouche. He scores. It was 1-0 Rangers. And then the Rangers a little bit later on the power play in the second period. Mark Osborne takes the shot, gets his own rebound, and scores. It was 2-0 Rangers. And then still in the second period, another Ranger power play. Pierre LaRouche gets the loose puck in front, shoots, and he scores. The Rangers were leading 3-1, and they win it tonight 4-2. The Rangers now in fourth place. That's that final playoff spot in the Patrick Division. They are 1 point ahead of Pittsburgh. Gretzky an assist tonight. Messier a goal for Edmonton. As we said, LaRouche with goals 19 and 20. Now in other games tonight, it was Calgary over Winnipeg 6-3. Hakan Lube and Joel Otto 2 goals apiece. The Flames had 4 power play goals tonight. And Vancouver a winner over Los Angeles in overtime tonight. Dave Lowry got the overtime goal as Vancouver wins that game 2-1. A full slate of games in the National Basketball Association tonight. First of all, those Boston Celtics continue to roll. They beat Washington 116-97. Bill Walton got his first start of the year, had 20 points for the Celtics. The Celtics have now won 26 straight games at home. Casey Jones, the first NBA coach ever to win 4 seasons with 60 wins. New Jersey, a winner over Chicago tonight. Mike Jaminski, 26 points in that game. Milwaukee topped Philadelphia 116-94. Moses Malone, though, out indefinitely with a swollen retina, and Bob McAdoo in trouble. He has a hyperextended left knee. Ricky Pierce, 31 points for the Bucks tonight. Detroit topped Houston 116-107. Bill Laimbeer, 27 points for the Pistons. Akeem Olajuwon, 26 points for Houston. It was Atlanta over Indiana 100-92. Dominique Wilkins, 32 points tonight. The Pacers have lost 5 straight. Denver topped Utah by 8. Calvin Nett and Alex English, 35 points apiece. The Nuggets snap a 3-game losing streak. And the Clippers won tonight. They beat Phoenix 107-96. Norm Nixon with 19 points for the Clippers in that one. In baseball news, the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox have swapped designated hitters. Mike Easler goes to the New York Yankees. Don Baylor goes over to the Boston Red Sox. And the Yankees, by the way, have waived Phil Niekro, the 46-year-old knuckleballer. He won his 300th game last year. He has been cut loose today. Bo Jackson, the 1985 Heisman Trophy winner, is in trouble scholastically, no. Academically, yes, for baseball, because he accepted a plane ride from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are very likely to make him the #1 pick in the NFL. That's against SEC rules. He is ineligible. Now back to college hockey. Let's join Jack Edwards and Lou Nanne at the Providence Civic Center.
We're just about ready for third period action in Providence, Rhode Island. This is the NCAA semifinal, the second one. The winner of this game between Harvard and Denver goes on to play Michigan State for the national championship. And that game will come your way live on ESPN at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 Pacific on Saturday, March 29th. Shots for the second period, 19-7, but quantity is not necessarily quality, Lou Nanne.
That's right. From the scoring area, Denver had 5 and Harvard had 3. There were quite a few shots Denver was taking, especially on the power play from the left side up high, and they were easy shots for Grant Blair, the goaltender in the Harvard net, to stop.
Grant Blair on the left, Chris Olsen on the right. Is there an edge in the third period? Blair is the all-time leader in just about every goaltending category for Harvard.
Well, I wouldn't say there's an edge, because each of these fellows have been through some tough hockey games getting their teams here. As we said, Olsen has played all those playoff games for Denver coming in. Blair has been here before, and each of them knows that they've got to be as sharp as they can be, because goaltending could determine it. One goal might win this hockey game. They've both been playing very well, although I would expect to see more than one goal this period. For some reason, I just think it's about time we had more scoring for the kind of opportunities and the kind of mistakes that have been made thus far.
Now, what does a player say to himself before this kind of 20 minutes of hockey? It requires such concentration. We saw it at the beginning of the second period with a goal only 8 seconds into the period by Smith.
Well, you try and picture yourself, especially if you're a forward, what you want to do is visualize scoring the goal. Start getting positive thoughts in your mind, not worrying about making a mistake. The people who worry about making mistakes usually make the mistakes. When you've got confidence and you've got the kind of ability that's got you here, usually you should have the thought in mind that you're going to be the hero, you're going to win the game for him some way, somehow.
Mathiasen against Chalmers on the face-off as Craig Chalmers has moved up from the fourth-line center position into Fusco's spot, and it seems that Billy Cleary is spotting different players in Fusco's position.
Well, what he's doing is alternating the centers. He's just rotating them. Since Fusco's out, he likes to go with 4 lines, and all he does is just keep rotating the centers, so you're going to have quite a few different line matchups.
That's Eric Johnson in center zone. Off Chalmers goes into the Harvard bench. We get a whistle only 24 seconds into the period.
And right away, lines are changed, and that's what the coaches like to do early in a game and early in the period. They want to get everybody in the game, get them feeling part of it, getting them the feel of being involved in the game, so they're not sitting there worrying, especially if you start getting into situations where there's a lot of penalties. Your third or fourth line would not get out there for 7 or 8 minutes had they not been able to get out under quick changes as they are right now.
Mathias and Borbo on this face-off right next to the red line. Hansen one-hands it in on Blair. Catone for Harvard. And he breaks it up. Now 2-on-2, Borbo. It's bothered by Gorley. Dion comes over. He runs into a check. Dion trying to help out, but Barraquette gets the face-off. It'll come to the left of Chris Olsen.
This is the most problem I've seen Denver have coming out of their zone is tonight. Harvard has been able to forecheck them. Denver earlier wasn't going against the flow at all. They were just continuing to throw the puck around the boards. Harvard was putting men there and cutting it off. Now Denver's starting to try and come back against the flow. But Harvard's quickness, what they're doing is they're putting one man in quick, and the other two that are coming in are flaring out towards the boards. And if the puck goes that way, that wing is going in very quickly. The defensemen of Harvard are staying positioned up high. They're not pinching that much, but they are able to keep the puck in because they're getting a lot of help from the forwards on that side.
Gaum comes off the bench to take the draw and wins it, doing his job. Blair around for Pulaski, too far. And it's Mathias as Gaum went right back to the bench. Barraquette flipped over the line and an offside as Mathias was stuck inside. Catone holding him inside the line.
Well, we're going to get a look at what the people were doing during intermission. How about that? Creating headlines in a hurry.
The Boston Post, that infamous journal of souvenir stands at Faneuil Hall. Rob Ono is out there along with Caron and Armstrong. That's the Harvard line. Jeff Lamb. McMillan is now taking ice time with his regular shift along with Christopoli. Mercier, Ono chasing him. Around him, Mayer. Armstrong bothering Mayer. Past Caron into center zone. Josh Kaplan. That's Sweeney. Return to Kaplan. Dumps it. Lamb back to pick it up. Mayer also behind the goal. Lamb's pass around to Christopoli. Ono on the bump, trying for the face-off. It gets kicked free. Quick whistle, but the drop will come to the right of Chris Olsen. We're less than 2 minutes into the third period, and it seems we're playing about 20, 25 seconds at a time. Are both of these teams a little bit hesitant? Nobody wants to make a mistake?
They are both tentative thus far. They are also much more diligent about not getting caught deep. Denver almost got caught deep in the first 20 seconds, but their forward Weiss reacted quick enough to get back and help out on the defense. Each side on their of Harvard and Denver defensemen are not rushing the puck, especially the Denver defensemen, as they were in the first two periods. They're staying back and playing much more diligent and much more position-wise than they had been earlier.
Now Barraquette along with Jan Faza and Chiarelli, and Barraquette has moved down onto the fourth line. We saw Chalmers up on the first line. And again, this is the center rotation of which you speak. And it's the only way Harvard's going to make up for the loss of Scott Fusco and still be able to have some semblance of four lines. Centering pass hit the skirt of the net. Now Mathiasen gets it up ahead for Eckelbarger. Blair off the boards. Mathiasen working on Benning. Back of the goal to Gaum. Gaum bothered by Taylor. Barraquette picks it up for Harvard. Headmans the puck ahead for Jan Faza. He's hauled down center zone, no call. Smith's pass intercepted Barraquette in the circle. Right in front. Nice save by Olsen as he flicked out the leg pad. Denver clears Blair way out. Eckelbarger giving him trouble. Pass goes beyond Barraquette. Taylor decides he's going to send it all the way in on Olsen.
And Grant Blair's lucky he hasn't gotten the penalty twice when he comes out of the net to play the puck. Denver forwards have hit him, and twice he slashed his stick at them.
Mathias trying the drop pass off to Weiss. Didn't work. Back comes Catone. Catone ahead to Jan Faza. Has Catone middle. Jan Faza sidesteps the Dion bump. Mathias going for it. Smith in after it for Harvard. Centering pass still loose in front. Chalmers bats at it. Goes over Jan Faza's stick. Catone couldn't control it. And finally, Pulaski just flicks it into the crowd in center zone. 16:45 remaining regulation time. Harvard 2, Denver 2 in the national semis.
Pulaski's a little lucky right there. He definitely flipped that puck over the over the glass purposely, and referee Brian Hart was right there. He could have called him delay of the game, but you don't usually see that call.
I don't know how lucky Pulaski is. He is apparently injured. He's bent over in pain.
It'll go away.
He's over at the Harvard bench, and
I'll bet she's out there the next time his line comes up.
I'll bet you're right. I mean, what is he saving it for?
No,
there's nothing to save it for.
When you get in a game like this, you get hurt, but you want to play so badly, and you're used to getting hurt in games. It'll just hurt you momentarily, and by the time your shift comes around, you're back in the game.
That's exactly the point. It's not as if you can make up for it tomorrow. For one of these teams, there is no tomorrow. Smith. That's Chalmers on the forecheck. Smith right next to the goal, had nobody in front. Now tries to center to Jan Faza. Shot by Chalmers. Saved by Olsen on the way through. McDonald in the corner. Sweeney. Pass comes through. Kaplan. Christopoli. Around behind Blair. Chalmers up for Smith. Smith to McDonald. Lane McDonald shifts over the line. And we'll take a break. 15:51 to go regulation time. It's Harvard 2, Denver 2.
I was alone with Kathleen Turner at midnight. I was sitting on her couch, and she was curled up beside me. And she had that look. And soon the couch got smaller. So I went for it. I reached over and turned on the tape recorder. And she gave me the interview of my life.
Kathleen Turner in the May issue of Playboy. You can buy it in 3 days.
I had to try this to believe it. Denerex tingles. Tells me it's doing more. Selsun Blue, no tingle.
Both have dandruff medicine, but Denerex adds an extra anti-itch medicine many dermatologists recommend.
So long, Selsun Blue. Hello, Denerex.
Saturday, ESPN crowns another NCAA champion. It's the Men's Division I Ice Hockey Championship game, live Saturday.
Harvard starting to skate the way they did in the first 30 minutes of this game, starting to take over again. They're catching Denver flat-footed. They're getting to the pucks quicker. They're beating them all over the ice. And Denver's going to be in trouble here unless they react quickly.
Morbo, Barraquette, and Crayer, the line for Harvard. Mayer ahead for Eckelbarger. First line is out there for Denver. Mathiasen on the forecheck. Morbo decides he wants the face-off, gets it. 15:36 to go regulation time. I'm Jack Edwards along with Lou Nanne, and we're bringing you the NCAA semifinals from Providence, Rhode Island. There's Dallas Gaum.
Great sign we saw at intermission that says Denver is, or Harvard is going, Gaum. Pretty intelligent. I like watching the different signs they get around these arenas. People are quite clever.
Mathiasen battling for it. Now Benning comes away for Harvard. Flip pass up ahead, taken away center zone by Mayer. Benning gets it back to Taylor. Taylor trying to thread the needle and couldn't send Crayer in. Now Borbo over the line. We get a delayed offside called against the Crimson.
And he couldn't send Crayer in because Mayer, 21 right there, made a great play, got a stick on that. Crayer would have been home free. Just got his stick down in time to deflect that pass because Ed Crayer was all alone going in stride, and it would have been right on the money. He would have had a fine opportunity to pull Harvard ahead. This game tied 2-2, 15:22 to go in the third period.
Alan Borbo is the name in high school hockey in the state of Massachusetts a few years back, and has really blossomed this year for Harvard, leading the team in goals per game average. He had 20 goals in 23 games coming into this matchup. Been plagued by some injury problems. Taylor ices it, and the drop will come back next to Grant Blair. 15:08 to go regulation time.
Harvard right now, their defensemen just staying back in position. They're looking for a long pass that's open. If it's not there, they're just content to flip it down, flip it out. They don't want to overhandle a puck. They don't want to turn it over to Denver in their own defensive zone. So they're just content to get it ahead. And if it ices, they're not too concerned about it.
Hansen hacks it in back of the goal. Benning there. Blair is down behind the goal. And now we're going to get a delayed call coming up. Interference against Denver. We'll return to Providence with the score. Harvard 2 and Denver 2.
Number 8, Denver's got interference on the goalie.
When you rent one-way from most car rental companies, there are strings attached, like the drop-off charge at the end of the line, the one you pay to help get their car back. At National, there are no strings or mileage charges because we have a whole fleet of cars available for one-way rentals, and they're just $15 a day more than our regular low daily rates. So the choice is yours. Rent one way or the other. National Car Rental, the way to go one way.
Well, you see Scott Mathias in the penalty box, and Grant Blair, who likes to roam from his net, was out again that time after he cleared the puck. Mathias comes in behind him. You'll see number 8, Mathias, come in behind him, knock him down, try to keep him out of the net. The play was already made. The referee calls interference. Harvard now on the power play. They've already scored 2 power play goals here tonight. Denver, in the last 2 opportunities that Harvard got, was able to kill them off. Harvard trying to get back to where they were in the power play, shooting that puck around, finally getting it to a Borbo, who can pull the trigger.
One of the linesmen retrieving a balloon gold and red balloons brought by many of the Denver fans tonight. They've been popping around the stands, but that's the first one that's come on the ice during play, so I guess we can be thankful for that. Bourbeau against Gaum on the draw. Gaum tries to walk right across the line, can't do so. Now Smith chops it back to Grant Blair.
Grant Blair's probably been the recipient of more checks than any other Harvard player here tonight.
Bourbeau cross ice. Lane McDonald with a head of steam. McDonald flying in. Sends it right in front. Shot by Smith. Saved by Olsen. Taylor at the point. Bourbeau down to McDonald. Olsen sticks it wide. Shot save as Smith was closing from the left wing. McDonald tries to jam it in, and we get a face-off. It'll come to the right of Olsen. And Olsen's standing his ground quite well.
He certainly is. He made a great save there. He was able to come right across the crease. He never lost his footing. It's a good thing he didn't, because all alone on that side was Thayer, and he had an opportunity to score a goal. Chris Olsen made a couple of good saves there. He's really blossomed as the years gone along for this Denver Hockey Club. Look at Olsen. He's going to maintain his feet right there. He stands right up, keeping his balance, giving the shooter nothing to shoot at, and he finally frees the puck right beside the net. Chris Olsen making 2 good saves to keep this game tied at 2.
Smith, Bourbeau, and McDonald up front with Benning and Taylor back at the points. Gaum will take the draw for Denver. And Bourbeau wins to Smith to Taylor, gloves it down, bats it right through the slot. Olsen decides to decide his own fate and knocks it off the glass. Taylor keeps it in. Benning lost it outside the line. Offside called against the Crimson. 1:18 to go on the penalty, and Harvard will still have that power play.
Well, both Smith and Taylor, or Benning and Taylor, were up high in that blue line. And when the puck came out, Taylor had to fire it across very, very quickly. He just got it outside, and the offside was caused. Lane McDonald here, quite a goal scorer. He got 3 last week against Michigan State. He's a fellow that very dangerous. He's got great speed. He likes to go to the outside, and he can shoot that puck, get it away very quickly.
Lamb winning the draw. Backhand Dion flicks it up ahead. Lamb was looking for a sneak away. Blair has to stick it aside. Bourbeau. Right in front of his own net, but Benning takes it. Smith to McDonald. McDonald working on Gorley. Pass deflects through the middle. Benning is decked on a hit by Jeff Lamb, and Denver clears. Good contact by Lamb. 45 seconds to go on the power play.
He's a centerman that likes to use his body. Lamb finishes his checks up front better than any other Denver forward.
McDonald looking for Bourbeau. Broken up by Gaum, but Taylor takes it to Smith over the line onside. He's got McDonald middle. Smith scores! Tim Smith puts Harvard on top on the power play. The 3rd goal of the night for Harvard, and the 3rd power play tally for them.
And you could see an excited Tim Smith. He played that very, very well. He waited until the 2 people with him went deep. He cut across the middle, and boy, can he shoot the puck. He let go with that wrist shot, and he beat. Here you see Tim Smith, and he beats Olsen with it. He cuts right across the middle, getting a good shooting angle, waiting for a screen to set up. He lets fly right through that screen, beating Olsen, putting Harvard ahead 3-2, 13:29 to go. 2nd goal of the night for Tim Smith.
Well, on the scoring chart, maybe the Christoffoli high stick, the Weiss elbow, and the Mathias interference are the largest marks made by the Pen, because those 3 penalties have enabled Harvard to score man-up goals.
Harvard being very effective on this power play. I believe it's 3 for 6 tonight, 50%. Boy, what teams wouldn't do for a 50% power play record.
13:25 to go in regulation time. Harvard with a 3-2 lead on Denver, the #1 seed from the West, the WCHA regular season and tournament champion. Hansen, left wing corner, loses. Mathias throws it in. Weiss and Hansen on the forecheck. Ono sends it up ahead. Perron going in after it. Mayer bothering him. Perron tries to spin away from the check, loses his feet. Mercier steps around the Armstrong effort. Mercier dumps in. There goes Weiss after Pulaski. Weiss in the right wing corner, taken away by Ono. Catone, unchallenged, starts out right side.
Denver not reacting to the puck very well right now. We're going to have
High stick called against Denver as puck touched the stick touched the puck over the shoulder.
Denver right now having the faceoff come down their own zone. You look at a concerned Ralph Backstrom checking the clock. He's got plenty of time left, 12:30. But Denver not reacting to that puck very well. It's getting thrown in. They've got plenty of time to go in and forecheck before the Harvard forwards are getting to that puck, but they're just allowing them to get to the puck first. Harvard's been beating Denver to the puck all night.
Chiarelli shot right on off the faceoff and the save by Olsen. Lamb with it. Gets it up ahead to Onstad. Christoffoli in the corner jamming. Puck's underneath. We'll get the face-off to the left of Grant Blair. 12-12 remaining regulation time. Harvard 3, Denver 2. We're at even strength.
When Onstad moving back up on that third line now, McMillan's off. McMillan still favoring that Charlie horse, and Onstad moving up in his place, and Lamb in that instance goes back to center. But if anybody's going to tie it for Denver, this is the line that should do it. Mathiasen, the best goal scorer on the team. Gom, the best playmaker. And they're the two that are the most reliable when it comes to getting goals for them.
And Eckelbarger is the left wing on that front line. But Don Sweeney breaks it loose for Harvard. It's a 3-on-2. Sweeney goes all the way corner, centering pass, and the shot goes wide. Chiarelli was closing along with Jan Faza. Coming back, it's Mathiasen. To Gom along the boards. Back to the point. Johnson flicks it in through a screen. Knocked away by Sweeney. Gom right in front as Blair is down and out. Had his back turned to the play. And Harvard got away with it. 3-on-2 back the other way. Andy Jan Faza. Fighting off Johnson. And Denver manages to clear. Smith still on the go. Kaplan bothering him. Josh Kaplan up the boards, past Chiarelli. Too far for Chalmers. Dion away from Chiarelli to Weiss. Taken away by Benning. Now stick high in the air by Dion into left wing corner. Benning backboard. He's bumped by Weiss after the play. But Benning's clear, comes all the way through into center zone.
Denver's starting to put on the most pressure all night.
Long shot was saved by Blair. It goes to the corner boards.
That was offside.
Go, Ted, go with it. Gorley. Pass to check. Still on the go. Gorley closes. Nice check by Benning. And we're going to get a tripping call. We'll return to Providence with the score. Harvard 3 and Denver 2.
If you're confident up north, raise your hand. If you're confident in Dixie, raise your hand. If you're sure from east to west, sure is one you love the best. Raise your hand if you're sure.
From the bleachers to the Met, Sure goes on feeling dry, not wet, and helps keep you feeling dry and confident all day, anywhere.
Confident, confident, dry and secure. Raise your hand if you're sure.
Mark Penny now serving a tripping penalty. Denver on the power play, trailing 3-2, 10:43 to go. You'll see Benning right there. He left his feet, got the puck.
Thought he got the puck.
Well, that penalty is as questionable as the one that was called on Mathias, because when he laid the check on Blair, Blair had just passed the puck, so had it been a forward, that wouldn't have called either. So they're each getting an opportunity to see what happens. Bill Cleary, very confident in his penalty killing. He's telling us before the game that they've done the job all year long.
9:17 gone in the third period as Benning is in the box. And the front line of Dallas Gom, along with Lamb and Mathiasen. And Harvard manages to clear it past Smith. Grant Dion. Trouble from Armstrong, sidesteps it. Up ahead for Lamb. He's got Mathiasen left wing. Looked like Lamb put himself offside and got away with it there.
Certainly did.
Dion left point. Oh no, out on him. Mathiasen along the boards. He gets bumped by Taylor and comes back to Dion. Tees it up. Wrist shot deflected through, goes over the top of the cage. Gom trying to dig it loose. Now it comes off the skirt of the net. Gom back to Dion. Gaume, Mathiasen, quick pass right in front. Smith top of the circle to Dion. Tees it up. Back to Gaume. Shot loose in front. Couple of saves by Blair. No goal. No goal. Never any question about it as Brian Hart was waving it off all the way.
Well, he certainly was. He might be waving a kickoff.
Let's listen.
Puck was kicked in by number 15.
That's what he was waving off. It was. He signaled it kicked in by number 15. And Brian Hart was in position down on the line. Ralph Backstrom very upset with the play. A lot of action around the net. We'll see it here as the puck's driven towards the net. That's Mathiasen on the right going for the rebound right here. He swings at it once. Then it was kicked there, and there's the kick right off the left skate. Actually, it was number 9, Mathiasen, that kicked it in. A good call by Brian Hart. Perfect position. People thought it might have been hidden with the stick, but when you see it there, it definitely was kicked in.
1:05 to go on the penalty kill for Harvard. McDonald way up front challenging Jim Smith. Smith spins away from him and gets going with a head of steam. Past Barraquette, still on the go. Jim Smith now loses his footing. Mathiasen to Smith corner. Smith cross ice. Lamb teeing it up. Has Dion at the other point. Hands it right to Lane McDonald. McDonald flicks it ahead of Barraquette and all the way down the ice. 38 seconds to go on the penalty kill.